Yeah. Before she got back on the bus to walk Alexander across the street from the house.
Oh, wow.
He must have been really. Alexander.
Now it stays off. Anyway, you're not listening, you need to find it.
What we call them. Rosalie.
Yeah?
What? Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Right, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My bed, run it down.
Learn Spanish with Real Spanish TV. What is? One word in the butt shield. What? She had to go plus me down. They usually have marked them down. Yeah. What happened?
I gotta find the socks. Oh, I need the thing that makes the feet go. Oh.
I got it.
Where's it done? Mm-mm.
내가 하고 싶은 대로 남이 시킨 대로 말고 어디든 I'll fly away so 뭘 해도 난 괜찮아
Rockstar Games is perhaps the most controversial name in gaming. With iconic franchises like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, it consistently pushed the boundaries of what video games can be, and often in problematic ways. But with every release, Rockstar seems to redefine a generation and sell millions upon millions of copies.
This week, Grand Theft Auto 5 pulled in $1 billion in sales in 3 days.
In fact, GTA 5 is one of the highest grossing media titles ever. With over 200 million copies sold, it's the second best-selling game of all time behind Minecraft. And it's made far more money than any music album, book, or movie. But if you've been paying attention, Rockstar is gearing up to release their most anticipated game yet. Fans have been waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 for over 10 years now, and it could be very well the biggest release in gaming history. So while we wait to see how GTA 6 will possibly live up to its hype, let's piece together the 30-year history of Rockstar and all the highly controversial yet revolutionary games they've made.
Nothing means more to me than this game.
You know, I've been in this game for a lot of years. I got out alive.
Michael, now look at this, huh? New city, new set of problems, but the idiots, they stay the same.
I've lived a bad life since beating a man for a few bucks. That's all I am. A fighter. A killer. And a crazy man.
It's a crazy story, and it all starts with two brothers who knew nothing about programming or game design. They just wanted to be gangsters. Every kid wants to be cooler than his parents, but for Sam and Dan Hauser, that was easier said than done. The Hauser brothers were born in the early 1970s, London. Their father owned a popular jazz club and knew the most famous artists of the day, and their mother was a talented actress who often starred in crime thrillers. Thanks to their mom, Sam and Dan were fascinated by the kind of crime movies she acted in. One time, when one of their dad's friends asked Sam about his dream job, he confidently said he wanted to be a bank robber. But his dream wouldn't become a reality just yet. For now, the Hauser brothers grew up completely immersed in music, movies, art, and everything to do with pop culture. But as they grew up, they began following their interests in different ways. Dan, the younger brother, was more interested in books and literature. He wanted to be a writer. However, in the early 1980s, Sam became obsessed with an exciting new medium: video games. At the time, most games were restrictive and linear, but one of Sam's favorite games was called Elite, where you could explore galaxies freely. Sam spent hours in the game living out his crime fantasies by looting enemies and pretending he was a space mugger. To him, Elite was exactly what a video game could be: a piece of art that immersed you in another world. Throughout his childhood, Sam's parents always bought him the latest and greatest game consoles. But for his 18th birthday in 1989, Sam's dad took him on a trip that would change his life forever. Apart from the parks and the towering buildings, Sam fell in love with the speed, the chaos, and the filth of New York City. It fascinated him, and people could tell by the energy he had. During the trip, Sam's dad took him to lunch with an executive from a record label called BMG. He spent the entire time blasting the executive about how he didn't understand youth culture. After the lunch, the executive told Sam's dad, "Your son is an utter lunatic, but he has some good ideas." Sam had just gotten himself a job. Once he started college back in London, Sam would go over to BMG between classes. He worked extremely hard and quickly earned the respect of BMG's senior management, who were planning a major move. You see, in the early 90s, BMG was thinking about expanding its business by publishing movies, but it was an extremely risky bet that required a ton of money. So instead, they made a smaller but potentially more rewarding investment.
Wait, so you're telling me I can build my own app in minutes just by typing what I want, no code at all? I had to try it. I went to famous.ai and it's literally just a box, like chatting with a friend. I typed, I want an app where users can book dog walking services, schedule appointments, and leave reviews. I even added a couple of images to help it visualize the style I was going for. That's it. No templates, no coding, no drag and drop. Famous.ai understood exactly what I wanted and started building the app right in front of me. And the craziest part, I've never built an app in my life. I don't know how to code, but this made it feel so easy, like anyone can do it. If you've been sitting on an idea, this is your sign. Go build it in minutes at Famous.ai.
As I started growing out my natural hair color, I noticed my moderate to severe lines. I booked a Botox cosmetic consultation to temporarily make my frown, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better. What was important to me was that I still look like me, just with fewer lines. And I'm confident about my results.
Botox cosmetic effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox cosmetic if you have skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow, eyelid drooping, or swelling. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
I'm the one and only Delphina, and I got treated with the one and only Botox cosmetic.
Learn more at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Video games. By this point, the video game industry was at a critical stage. Games weren't taken as seriously as movies and music, but the industry was already worth $7 billion annually. And with Sony introducing the PlayStation soon, it was projected to increase by another $2 billion. So in 1994, BMG started BMG Interactive, a new branch that would publish video games made by outside development studios, similar to how their record label published music from various artists. This small investment could pay off massively if video games were indeed the next big thing, and of course Sam, who'd been obsessed with games since he was a kid, was confident they were. As soon as he heard about this new interactive division, Sam asked BMG's executives to give him a job there, and they figured he'd be a great addition. Now, despite being just the publisher, making barely 120 pounds a week, and knowing nothing about game development, Sam got involved in every aspect of the games. Most of them were flops, but every so often a game brought in a good chunk of money. So after just 2 years, Sam became the head of development at BMG Interactive. And now, his single obsession was to make video game history. To do that, he only needed one breakout hit of a game, and it was just around the corner. In 1996, Sam got a call from a game developer in Scotland called DMA Design. They were making a game called Race and Chase and needed a publisher to help get it out there. DMA called Race and Chase a living, breathing city. Players could freely explore and chase criminals around it. That's exactly what it was. But there was a problem. The game was terrible. You see, DMA wanted to make Race and Chase as realistic as possible. And since you played as the police, that meant following a strict set of rules. It felt more of a simulator than a game, and it was boring. But Sam had some inspired ideas about how to improve it. For starters, what if you didn't have to stop at the red lights? What if you could pass the speed limit? What if you could drive on the sidewalk? Then he took it a step further. What if instead of the cop, you were the criminal? What if you could steal other people's vehicles? What if you didn't have to avoid pedestrians? What if you actually got points for running them over? What if you could shoot the police? Just like that, Race and Chase became a completely different game. And it was a hell of a lot more fun.
Best game ever!
It also meant that Race and Chase wasn't a good fit anymore. But Sam had the perfect replacement, Grand Theft Auto. Sam and the DMA team fell in love with this new vision, and it was at this point that Sam's other brother, Dan, who had just gotten his literature degree from Oxford University, joined the team. Unlike books and movies, which are consumed passively, video games are interactive, so they were an exciting opportunity for Dan to experiment with writing. Since Dan was equally as fascinated with gangster flicks and pop culture as Sam, The Housers stuffed GTA with as many movie references, rebellious songs, and fun criminal activities as they could.
I got a warning for you from Bald Man Sonetti. Cross him again, I'll stick a gun up your ass and blow your f***ing eyeballs out.
At this point, no video game had gone to these lengths, so the team knew it would be controversial, but they actually leaned into it for their marketing. Before GTA even released, parents were getting very concerned. The Guardian called it the most controversial game in a decade, and even the House of Lords were ranting about how scandalous it was. But the question remained, would anyone even like it? The first Grand Theft Auto released on November 28, 1997, and the response was mixed. Some reviewers complained about GTA's outdated top-down graphics and unreliable controls, but others praised it for how fun and addictive it was, and how much freedom players had. GTA sales weren't particularly impressive, but they were unusual. Most games have a sales spike on release and then quickly die off, but GTA was the complete opposite. The sales were slow on release, but they grew every week because players were recommending the game to their friends. In the end, GTA stayed in the top 20 charts for an impressive 1.5 years and sold over 1 million copies. However, despite GTA's success, Sam and Dan's jobs were under threat. It wasn't their fault. BMG's executives didn't understand gaming, and for some reason, they made the costly mistake of opening 27 new offices around the world. Rather than plug the hole in their balance sheet, they decided to sell off their gaming division. And so in 1998, BMG Interactive was bought for $14.2 million by a New York-based company that'll be important in the story from now on. Take-Two Interactive.
Right on time.
Kalia, apparel built to move.
Now, Take-Two was also a video game publisher, and it was actually Sam who connected with the CEO, because they had a plan. You see, Take-Two's games were a lot more family-friendly than GTA. So instead of simply being absorbed, BMG Interactive became a subsidiary of Take-Two. And since Sam wanted to keep the edgy, rebellious culture he'd built, he gave it the appropriate rebrand to Rockstar Games. Apart from Rockstar, Sam became Take-Two's vice president in worldwide product development, which made him responsible for all the studios making games under Take-Two. DMA Design, the Scottish company that made GTA, was a third-party studio, completely separate from Take-Two, and it had actually been acquired 2 times in the last few years. But in 1999, Take-Two bought DMA Design for $11 million and turned it into Rockstar North. Now, both the development and publishing sides of GTA were under Take-Two's control. At this point, though, GTA was still relatively underground, and Rockstar Games still had to prove it could live up to its name. So the Houser brothers, and the rest of the rebels at Rockstar, made a promise. No matter what people in the industry thought, they would publish the sorts of games they wanted to play, not least of which was a sequel to their crown jewel, Grand Theft Auto. Their plan was to make GTA the biggest franchise in the industry, even if it meant sparking some of the most heated controversies in gaming history. But here's the thing. Success isn't just about having a great product. It's about selling it. You could be building the world's biggest gaming empire or any kind of business, but if you don't have a system that makes selling effortless and able to see which channel is making you the most sales, you're leaving money on the table. And that's exactly where today's sponsor, Odoo, comes in. Odoo is the all-in-one enterprise platform that makes managing your business effortless. Their 45-plus suite of apps is designed to help you deals for your entire sales pipeline running smooth and much more. With Odoo's sales app, you can send out professional, customized quotes in seconds, automate invoicing so you get paid faster, and even sync your sales across platforms like Amazon and eBay, so you can see your entire business from a bird's eye view. With the dashboard, you can filter and see different reports like monthly revenue, sales from different channels, etc. And the best part is that as your business grows, Odoo grows with you. You can start with their sales tools and add more features like inventory, accounting, and marketing as you scale. And because everything is seamlessly integrated and tracked in one place, you always know exactly what's working and where to optimize. Odoo is the perfect way to make running your business easier and boost your sales while you're at it. And the best part is, your first application is free for life with unlimited hosting and support. So click the top link in the description of this video and start closing more deals with Odoo today. Thanks again to Odoo for sponsoring this video. The best way to support our channel is by supporting our sponsors. They make videos like this possible. On October 22nd, 1999, Rockstar Games released Grand Theft Auto 2. And while it definitely improved upon some aspects of the first one, reviewers unanimously agreed it was a lackluster sequel. Part of the reason for this was that Take-Two Interactive gave DMA Design a very tight release window, and as a result, the graphics were just as outdated as the first one. Also, games like Metal Gear Solid were proving the immense potential of interactive storytelling, but GTA 2 had none of that. Instead, you played as a silent protagonist in a futuristic setting called Anywhere City. To give it credit though, GTA 2 had its core formula intact. So despite all its shortcomings, there were still gangs to fight, pedestrians to run over, and cops to run from. The game was still fun, and people seemed to enjoy it. Grand Theft Auto 2 went on to sell over 2 million copies, twice that the original GTA did. So as far as Rockstar and Take-Two were concerned, that warranted another sequel. But this one would be different.
All right, everybody, got 15 seconds here. We want to get a countdown from you. Let's go! Let's go!
Sony PlayStation 2 will be the biggest thing to come along since TV was invented. The buzz on this product is that strong.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2. Newest, fastest video game system ever.
At the same time, Sony was about to release the PlayStation 2, which opened up a world of possibilities for game developers. And now that DMA Design had become Rockstar North, they were free to take as much time as they needed to make GTA 3 the best entry in the series. Sam and Dan's ideas for it were incredibly ambitious. Instead of just one game, they'd release 3 over the span of a few years, each set in a different city around the United States. GTA 3's Liberty City was modeled after New York City, Vice City on Miami, and San Andreas on the state of California. They got started on GTA 3 right away, and it was perfect timing because the new Rockstar office was right in New York. Thanks to the new PlayStation, Rockstar was able to make a vivid recreation of the city in 3D. But while that made the game much more immersive than its predecessors, the real innovation was GTA 3's story. This time, you weren't just driving around a city wreaking havoc. At the start of the game, the protagonist is betrayed by his girlfriend on a heist.
Sorry, babe. I'm an ambitious girl.
The king of pre-owned vehicles, Poughkeepsie Nissan, your Hudson Valley pre-owned superstore, now has over 500 vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $69.95 and payments as low as $129 a month with 0 down. And we buy cars for cash. Plus, every new and used vehicle includes 1 year, 15,000-mile scheduled maintenance at no charge. And our goal is always 100% credit approval. Shop at Poughkeepsie Nissan's pre-owned supercenter and start saving today.
But on his way to prison, his transport is hijacked, giving him a chance to escape. For the rest of the game, players are making a name for themselves in Liberty City's criminal underworld, with the ultimate goal of getting revenge.
Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price.
Let's teach these would-be tough guys what it means to be a tough guy.
Much of this was thanks to Dan, who was the lead writer on the whole series. The story was definitely cliché, but that was intentional. GTA 3 is filled with characters and references that are ripped straight out of the crime thrillers that the Hauser brothers grew up watching. And of course, there were the famous radio stations with iconic music and funny conversations that make the world feel alive.
You're the best. You're the best. Right, that was whatever with good things.
Sam and Dan wanted GTA 3 to really feel like an interactive gangster movie, so violence and gore was dialed up to 11.
This is it. I'm way over my head and I'm starting to drown here. The CIA seems to have a vested interest in Spank, and they don't like us screwing with the cartel.
You could even drive off into an alleyway with certain women. You'd lose some cash and your health meter would go up. Clearly, something seedy was going on, but once it was over, you could run the women over with your car and get your money back. Obviously, Rockstar was in for a media scandal. But whereas they had previously used controversy to market GTA, this time it could actually get them into trouble. You see, to protect younger players from playing violent, gory, or sexual games, video games have a rating system that ranges from E, for everyone, to AO, for adults only. Rockstar was aiming for a mature rating, which is compatible to an R-rated movie. But due to GTA's violent and sexual content, there was a genuine chance it could get an adults-only rating, which meant major retailers like Walmart and Best Buy, where they got a good share of their sales, wouldn't carry the game. And with just around a month left until release, the worst possible thing that could happen, happened. Sam Hauser watched from his apartment window as the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center went up in flames. It was a terrifying time for New York, but for Rockstar, whose controversial new game was set in a city not unlike New York, it was time to sound the alarms. With just a few weeks until release, Sam and Dan contemplated whether they should even release GTA 3. Maybe it would be too controversial, or even disrespectful. Thankfully, though, they knew that beneath all the satire, the violence, and the sex, GTA 3 was a love letter to New York City and the United States. Instead of canning the whole game, Rockstar took its version of the Twin Towers out of the map, removed the flight feature, and cut down on the gore. In the end, this actually helped them get a mature rating. But even with these changes, GTA 3 was still pushing a ton of boundaries. So once it went up for sale, it was an instant controversy. Much of it revolved around the sex scenes and the violent ways you could get your money back. Parents and governments were outraged, and Australia even completely banned the game.
The technical wizardry has attracted loyal fans, but the graphic violence has attracted angry critics. Denounced by Congress here in the US, the game has been outlawed in Australia, and several other countries are also considering bans.
But really, GTA 3's controversy was completely overshadowed by its sheer success. Reviewers had glowing praises to sing for it, and gamers were recommending it heartily to their friends. GTA 3 was the fastest-selling and highest-grossing PS2 title. It made $400 million in its first year, and to date, it has sold over 14 million copies. The verdict was in. GTA 3 was fun, innovative, but perhaps the most impressive thing was that it grew the video game industry like no other game before it. At the time, most people thought of gaming as a hobby for nerds and geeks, but GTA appealed to a mainstream audience and introduced millions of people to gaming. As one Rockstar producer put it, "This is to show that video games don't have to be about hobgoblins and dwarves." At around the same time, Rockstar had released two other games that also reached the top 10 charts. So in the 4 months after GTA 3's release, Take-Two Interactive stock nearly tripled from $7 to almost $20. This was incredible news for Rockstar, but it put the Hauser brothers in a difficult position. How on earth could they possibly top this? Well,
I've been baking my entire life, so I love being in the kitchen. And I'm constantly furrowing my brows. So when some of my friends
the next entry in the GTA trilogy, Vice City, would be set in Miami in the 1980s. what Sam and Dan considered the golden age of crime. The game's budget was $5 million, but since GTA's game engine was already state-of-the-art, Rockstar could focus on perfecting the tech and adding features so that the world was even more immersive. Whereas most games used bland color schemes to save on graphics processing, Vice City brought 1980s Miami to life in all its neon glory.
Nice bike.
The story was also improved. Dan was finding his voice as a game writer, and this time he wrote a classic story of ambition, betrayal, and revenge inspired by iconic movies and TV shows like Scarface and Miami Vice. To add to the immersion, Rockstar hired famous actors from gangster movies like Ray Liotta
doing a voice for Grand Theft Auto, the game,
and Burt Reynolds to voice major characters in the game. And of course, there were also a combined 900 pages worth of pedestrian dialogue and radio scripts to fill the world with life. When Vice City released in October 2002, it was, again, an instant sensation with reviewers and fans alike. The game sold 1.4 million copies in its first 2 days, making it the fastest-selling game ever at the time. Eventually, Vice City went on to sell more copies than GTA 3, and it skyrocketed Take-Two Interactive's revenue to over $1 billion. Suddenly, Rockstar Games was the coolest brand in gaming, and the industry could no longer ignore the impact of Grand Theft Auto.
Papi, no hay problema, toma. Papi, un gran problema. Humberto, my son, what happened? The Haitians. I hate these Haitians.
But of course, Vice City's release came with its share of controversies. One particular mission asked the player to, quote, all the Haitians. This was a huge issue. The Haitian American community fired up in protest. And even the spokesperson for the president of Haiti said that Vice City was racist, psychologically extremely dangerous, and an incitement of genocide. Because of this, Rockstar got sued for hundreds of millions of dollars and heavily criticized by the media. They had to issue a formal apology and remove certain lines from future versions of the game. But while lawyers and PR people were dealing with the controversies publicly, the Hauser brothers and the developers at Rockstar were already hard at work on their biggest game yet. The next Grand Theft Auto would be more violent, more racially tense, and more sexual than any of its predecessors. And one tiny mistake would place it at the center of the most heated controversy in gaming history.
Rockstar Games has done it again. Ladies and gentlemen, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas.
Oh, shit. Here we go again. Worst place in the world. Rolling Heights baller country. Now, I ain't represented Grove Street in 5 years, but the ballers won't give a shit.
I've been harder than anybody in the world could do. It's like
sucks. Damn.
Damn, my shit was whack.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas would be the most ambitious game in Rockstar's history. The game's map included versions of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas, and everything about it would be bigger and better than anything Rockstar had ever done. That included the controversial aspects of the GTA formula. For starters, the story would follow a black protagonist at the height of the gang warfare in early 1990s LA. That was a bold move, and Rockstar worried that the ESRB, which gives games their age rating, would think that they were mockingly stereotyping black people, when in reality, this was Dan's most profound, most well-thought-out story yet.
You haven't forgotten about us, have you, boy? Hell no, Officer Tenpenny. I was just wondering what took y'all so long.
But this really was the least of Rockstar's concerns. You see, Sam was frustrated that regulators didn't treat video games like other forms of entertainment. Nudity and sex were a staple of R-rated movies, so why couldn't video games have them and get a mature rating instead of adults only? Sam thought this was unfair, and he wanted to prove his point. So in San Andreas, he gave players the ability to meet and seduce 6 girlfriends. And there was a mini-game where you could have a variety of sexual interactions with them, all of which were completely uncensored. The only question was whether San Andreas would actually get a mature rating with this minigame in the disc. But after consulting with the ESRB, the answer was clear. If the game had explicit sex scenes, it would get an adults-only rating. Sam was furious, but if he didn't cut the girlfriend minigame from San Andreas, major retailers would refuse to sell it. Simply put, it wasn't a smart business move. So, with just a few weeks left until release, Sam had to ask his developers to remove it. But this wasn't as simple as it sounds. At this point, Rockstar's developers couldn't risk deleting a massive chunk of the game's code. That could create a ton of bugs, and there wouldn't be enough time to find and fix them.
Are you really going to miss this?
We do this training once a year. There's 800,000 to 1 million people that'll join us, and it's an opportunity for you at absolutely no cost to figure out how to create a blueprint for what's next in your life. How to be able to be in a position where you could start something or take something you've already got to a whole nother level by learning from the best that exists. Not just us, but to join a group of people we put together for 3 days, 3 hours a day, like a movie each day, but one that'll change your.
So instead of deleting the mini-game entirely, Rockstar's developers used a common technique called wrapping, where they basically hide unused code and make it inaccessible. As far as players knew, they could drive their girlfriends home, she'd invite them in for a little coffee.
How about a little coffee?
And the camera would shake from the outside.
Oh, CJ, I love you.
But technically, the minigame was still in there, hidden deep in the code, at least for now, because Sam had a plan. Rockstar would release San Andreas for PC around a year after releasing it for consoles. Sam's plan was to update the PC version after a few months and reintroduce the girlfriend minigame. That way, Rockstar could profit from the initial sales spike with a mature rating and transition the game to adults only later. But either way, with the girlfriend minigame wrapped inside the console version, Rockstar sent their latest game off to the ESRB. They gave it a mature rating, and it went up for sale in October 2004. As usual, fans and reviewers alike called GTA San Andreas Rockstar's masterpiece.
San Andreas takes the series to a new level by taking the action statewide and providing a delirious amount of variety in its gameplay.
It's the most successful PS2 title ever, and has sold over 27 million copies throughout the years. San Andreas achieved a new level of mainstream success, yet again introducing millions of people to gaming. But at the same time, there was a passionate community of modders who weren't just interested in the game, but also how they could improve it. In previous GTAs, modders would have scoured the codebase and found a vehicle, a weapon, or a few lines of dialogue that didn't make it into the final game.
Everybody is my cousin. Brothers from different mothers, sisters from different fathers, and all that kind of shit.
This time, though, they found a minigame with something much more provocative. Now, modding the console version of GTA was practically impossible, so the modders couldn't do much for now. But the moment San Andreas released on PC, that all changed. Remember, Sam was planning to add the minigame to the PC version of San Andreas in the future, but the modding community was way ahead of him. They already knew where to find the sex scenes, and they instantly built a mod that let you play them.
Now, I know you blind, man, but you gotta see this. Very clever. So what's the prognosis?
Since the protagonist's girlfriends often invited him into their homes for coffee, the mod was called Hot Coffee, and when it came out, Rockstar made a huge mistake. The Hot Coffee mod went instantly viral, but Rockstar claimed that the modders had created it out of thin air. If this was true, it would have ended the problem immediately, but of course, it wasn't. The ESRB launched an investigation and found that the girlfriend minigame was in fact coded into every single copy of San Andreas. Rockstar was caught red-handed, and it became the biggest scandal the game industry had ever seen. Suddenly, the modding community felt betrayed. Parents were incensed that Rockstar had exposed their children to sexually explicit content, and the ESRB was reeling. They had spent years getting on regulators' good graces, and now Senator Hillary Clinton was threatening to pass a bill that would restrict video game content.
We are determined to stop a situation in which video games with pornographic and violent content are being peddled to our children,
potentially leading to censorship and limiting creativity across the country. And it was all Rockstar's fault. Ultimately, the bill didn't pass thanks to ESRB, gamers, and free speech advocates pushing back. But Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive were brutally punished. Firstly, Rockstar had to accept getting San Andreas re-rated to adults only which meant Walmart, who accounted for 20% of Rockstar's sales, along with dozens of other retailers, immediately stopped selling it. Australia banned it completely, and Rockstar would have to spend around $25 million to fix, recall, and re-rate San Andreas to get it back on store shelves. Take-Two's stock dropped 13%, and the bad press even spilled over to other Rockstar games like Bully, The Warriors, and GTA spin-offs for the PSP. By the end of 2006, Take-Two Interactive had lost $184.9 million. But apart from that, the city of Los Angeles sued Take-Two for deceptive marketing, the Manhattan District Attorney launched a criminal investigation into Rockstar, and the Federal Trade Commission started investigating whether they had intentionally tried to defraud the ESRB. Protesters gathered outside Rockstar's New York office, they got dozens of class action lawsuits, and 3 of the 5 Rockstar co-founders quit within a year. Now it was just Sam and Dan Houser. So, apart from burning a hole in Rockstar and Take-Two's pockets, the hot coffee scandal was a public embarrassment, and it sent both companies into disarray. All things considered, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and the GTA trilogy as a whole was still a remarkable success, so the Rockstar brand was just as attractive to new and ambitious game developers. After such a dramatic series of events, Sam and Dan had an opportunity to start again fresh. And as is tradition with the Houser brothers, their plans for Rockstar Games were, of course, bigger than ever before. The Grand Theft Auto trilogy catapulted Sam and Dan Houser to global fame and infamy. But even at the time, GTA was just one piece of the puzzle. Take-Two Interactive owns Rockstar Games, the company Sam and Dan started. But they don't actually make games. They just publish them. Instead, Rockstar owns subsidiary studios like Rockstar North, the main developers behind the GTA trilogy, and in the last few years, they had acquired a handful of other studios to develop games like Bully, Manhunt, Smuggler's Run, Midnight Club, and Max Payne. One of these was a small company called Angel Studios, which became Rockstar San Diego. They developed a Western shooter called Red Dead Revolver, which wasn't a massive hit, but in an unexpected way, it ended up saving the company. You see, Rockstar's biggest games like GTA used a popular game engine called Renderware. But in 2004, EA, one of the industry's biggest publishers, bought the company that made it. Since Rockstar was EA's direct competitor, they weren't going to let them use Renderware for much longer. Normally, this would have been a huge problem. Without an engine, Rockstar Studios couldn't make games, but luckily, the San Diego team came to the rescue. Red Dead Revolver actually ran on a proprietary engine they'd been building for years now. So instead of a problem, Rockstar's engine situation was an opportunity. Just before GTA San Andreas came out, Sam told the San Diego team to revamp their game engine. It was perfect timing, because the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were just around the corner, and they could make full use of the new hardware. The result was the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, or RAGE for short.
So we've created a new game engine to replace Renderware. We're calling it the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine. RAGE.
From now on, it would be the foundation of every Rockstar game, not the least of which was their highly anticipated next installment of their flagship franchise, GTA 4. Rockstar North was on that, and as far as the San Diego team, their little Western cowboy shooter was odd, but it had potential. So why not turn it into something? Sam and Dan had a budget of $100 million for GTA 4, but they only cared about one thing: reducing the Grand Theft Auto formula to its bare essentials and making sure each component was perfect. The setting was once again modern-day Liberty City, and for Sam and Dan, every detail mattered.
Oh yeah! There she is! Liberty City! Yeah!
The developers studied everything from New York's architecture to its traffic patterns, the ethnic demographics of each neighborhood, and even things players would never see, like its sewage systems. This time they would truly bring New York to life, and thanks to the RAGE engine and the powerful new consoles, Rockstar could build more detailed, higher-definition graphics, complex 3D maps and interiors, and realistic physics. GTA 4 looked more realistic than ever, but it wasn't just about what you could see. Dan kicked the storytelling up a notch as well. He didn't romanticize crime like previous games had.
During the war, we did some bad things, and bad things happened to us. War is where the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other.
Instead of relying on gangster movie tropes, the game followed a morally ambiguous protagonist, Nico Bellic.
Nico, my cousin! I can't believe you're here! Welcome to America!
As he grappled with his past and dealt with the harsh realities of the American dream.
What do you think about America, Nico? Tell me straight. You love it, no?
I don't know, Roman. It is the same as any other place, only louder. People don't know how to shut up here. So, you full of crap or what?
What?
The story had real emotional depth, and that was one of the key reasons why when GTA 4 released in the summer of 2008, it became the best reviewed game in history and brought in over $310 million in just one day. To date, GTA 4 has sold over 28 million copies. Many still consider it by far the best entry in the series, and it's no stretch to say that it redefined what a video game could be. Not a glorified toy, but real art. Sam Houser had finally achieved his dream, but in reality, he was barely getting started. 2 years later, Rockstar released Red Dead Redemption, which was made by the San Diego studio. Like GTA, Red Dead places the player at opposite sides of the law, except this time, it's not LA or New York City, it's the Wild West. Red Dead has sold more than 23 million copies and gotten dozens of awards for its immersive gameplay and story. Its success proved that Rockstar wasn't just a GTA company, but at this point, they were at a crossroads. With a budget of around $100 million, GTA 4 took hundreds of people 3.5 years to make. Red Dead Redemption cost around $90 million, and it took 5 years to make. And next GTA, which was coming out 5 years after GTA 4, reportedly had thousands of people involved in the game in one way or another and a budget of $265 million. Every time Rockstar made a new game, it was bigger, more expensive, and took longer to make than the last one. That's just the reality of making increasingly ambitious games. But since the plan was to make them even crazier, Rockstar's situation got a little complicated. No business functions properly if it relies on 1 or 2 big sales spikes every decade, so Rockstar had to make a bold strategic move. As usual, GTA 5's main story would massively improve upon every aspect of the GTA formula, but instead of forcing fans to wait years for another release, Rockstar would invest millions of dollars to make extra content for GTA 5's new online mode. This would drive more sales in the long term, and they could also monetize it by adding microtransactions and give them consistent revenue until the next GTA, however long that might take. So with this strategy in place, all that was left to do was wait until GTA 5 released on September 17th, 2013. Not even Rockstar themselves could have predicted how unimaginably successful their game would be.
Michael, look at this, New city, new set of problems, but the idiots, they stay the same.
Yep, I guess. Look, man, it's been a real honor, homie. But I gotta move forward in my life.
You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them?
Life is just one long mystery. Ooh!
More than 11 years after its launch, GTA 5 has sold a mind-warping 205 million copies.
This is Grand Theft Auto. I would never queue for any other game in the world. I mean, I've loved Grand Theft Auto since I was a kid, and this is the reason I'm queuing. I mean, it's just one of my favorite games of all time.
Making it the second best-selling game ever, only behind Minecraft. The GTA Online play turned out to be a stroke of genius. It's estimated that between game sales and microtransactions from the online mode, GTA 5 has generated over $8.6 billion in revenue, making it one of the highest grossing pieces of media ever.
This week, Grand Theft Auto 5 pulled in $1 billion in sales in 3 days. No movie or music release has ever come close to that.
But if we've learned anything about Sam and Dan Houser, it's that they're always working on the next best thing. We know what it is now. Grand Theft Auto 6 is the most hyped game of all time. But this time the world is watching, and everyone has one question. Can they deliver?
Fellowship Award. Rockstar Games and welcome Sam Hauser, Dan Hauser, Leslie Benjis, and Aaron Gerber.
After the monumental success of GTA V, players were wondering how the Hauser brothers could possibly follow it up. The answer came in 2018 with Red Dead Redemption 2, and it exceeded fans' expectations in every way.
Nothing means more to me than this game. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. I wish things were different. But it weren't us who changed.
Red Dead 2's sprawling, immersive world depicted the dying days of the Wild West. The critics unanimously praised it for its depth of storytelling, character development, stunning visuals, and unprecedented attention to detail. Rockstar had once again raised the bar for the entire industry, and the numbers spoke for themselves. Red Dead Redemption 2 is currently the 6th best-selling game of all time, with over 67 million copies sold worldwide. It's incredible to think that the Red Dead franchise, with just a handful of titles, has reached such monumental success. But as the dust settled, fans again turned their attention toward Rockstar's flagship series. It's astounding to see how GTA V still holds up today, when it was originally released for PS3 and Xbox 360. Red Dead Redemption 2 gave us a taste of what was possible on PS4 and Xbox One.
We got a problem. There's a ton of cops out there.
But now with the next generation of consoles, everyone wants to know what Rockstar has planned for Grand Theft Auto 6. For years, fans were scouring the internet for any crumb of information about it. Rumors were everywhere, but official details were scarce. Unfortunately, the first bit of news was not good. Shortly after releasing Red Dead Redemption 2, Dan Houser took a leave of absence and never came back. He officially left Rockstar Games in 2020. And rumors suggest it was because of a severe case of burnout after more than a few 100-hour work weeks. At that point, though, Rockstar's next game had already been in development for 7 years, so no need to worry. Dan Houser's genius will be all over Grand Theft Auto 6. In December 2023, Rockstar finally dropped its first official trailer.
Lucia, do you know why you're here? Bad luck, I guess.
With over 90 million views, the video broke YouTube's 24-hour view record for a non-music video. So needless to say, GTA 6 is shaping up to be the most hyped game of all time. It could also be the most ambitious game ever made.
Well, look who's back.
And this year, the Game Award goes to Grand Theft Auto 6. Congratulations, Rockstar.
One of the most jaw-dropping rumors is its budget. Unconfirmed reports suggest that Rockstar could be pouring over $2 billion to make and market GTA 6, which would make it the most expensive game ever. To put that into perspective, that's around 7.5 times what it costs to make GTA 5. And if you combine the budgets of Star Citizen, Genshin Impact, and Cyberpunk 2077, some of the most expensive games ever, it still falls short of GTA 6's budget. So, what do we know about GTA 6? Well, this time it will be set in modern-day Miami and follow two main characters. One of them, for the first time, is a female.
Trust?
Trust.
As for gameplay and story details, it's too early to tell. But looking back on Rockstar's history, there's one bet we're willing to make. Throughout their entire career, Sam and Dan Houser have relentlessly obsessed over making each and every one of their games bigger, more immersive, and more realistic than the last one, no matter who they offend along the way. It's what's kept Rockstar at the pinnacle of the gaming industry. The wait has been long this time around, but if history is any indication, it's going to be well worth it. Rockstar Games is more than just a group of rebels. They're revolutionaries. Their passion and vision have shaped an entire generation of gamers, and we can't wait to see what else they have in store for us. And who knows? Maybe we'll all still be alive by the time we get to play GTA 7.
So you think you know Wix, but do you really? First up, we've got Shake Video Masks.
So is Roblox being ruined by games like this here, Grow a Garden, Fish? Recently, there's been a bunch of drama on Twitter. Tweets like, these games are trash. No apology. Basically saying that games like Grow a Garden don't deserve the success that they're currently getting. Saying that these big studios who own these games are just going to straight up stop caring about players, the game's gonna die, and they basically just make the game overly pay to win to steal your money. And honestly, this might be a video that gets me in a lot of trouble, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people in the Roblox developer community probably aren't gonna like what I'm gonna say here, but we're gonna say it anyway. But first, let me take you back to this weekend, all right? Let me get you guys caught up to speed. You see, this past weekend, Roblox actually broke their all-time player record with over 14 million players all playing at the exact same time. And the reason why they did that is because of, well, one game. That game is this game right here, Grow a Garden. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. In fact, I think actually right now, in the middle of a school day, this game, yeah, look at this right here. This game literally in the middle of a school day has 662,000 players. Insane. But anyway, an update came out for this game, and this game ended up getting 2 million concurrent users. In fact, Grow a Garden is now the second most popular Roblox game of all time when it comes to peak players. The only game beating it is Blocks Fruits. You see, it's got Blocks Fruits, Grow a Garden, Adopt Me, Dress to Impress, Dead or Else, etc., etc. And well, anyway, with the success of Grow a Garden comes a lot of tweets like this here. This game has 2 million players and is likely making millions of dollars. What am I doing with my life? These games are trash. No apology. I'm not upset with the developers. I'm just disappointed with the community for making the front page being filled with these types of games. They said we don't have much passion, effort, and creativity on the front page anymore. It's just all of these games being made with only one goal in mind, and that is to make money. They don't care about the players no more. They don't care about the community. They just want to make money. Now, is that true? And you see, this kind of ties into a larger discussion I want to have, and that is the discussion of big studios on Roblox and kind of their effect on the platform. Let's start with this here. So if you guys don't know, Grow a Garden is owned by this game here, Do Big Studios. I say owned because they didn't make the game. They actually bought the game from the original owner. Now, the original owner is very controversial. I don't know if we'll get into this. I kind of already talked about this in another video. Basically, the original owner of the game did some pretty borderline illegal stuff, actually. But anyway, Do Big Studios, they bought the game. Now, if you actually go to their game page, after it verifies my browser here, you'll actually see a bunch of popular games on here, like Baddies, or Fish, or Blade Ball, or Dusty Trip. And the thing is, they actually didn't make any of these games. They just bought them. And this is what a lot of the big studios and big companies on Roblox do. They buy these games for a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they'll add in a bunch of pay-to-win features in order to get their money back. Basically, ring the wallets of all of their players for as much money as they can possibly get. In fact, if you go and Grow a Garden, they already have started doing this. And then tweets like this pop up, and it's very true, right? Game is at its peak enjoyment. A company buys the game then turns into trash and pay to win, and then the game dies. Will this trend continue? And honestly, they may have a point here. This YouTuber here, DV Dark Viper, he said, how to kill your game 101. Stop caring about your casual players and make it pay to win. And this is what all these big companies do. Here's another tweet that kind of enforces this point, right? So here's another picture here. Do Big Studios, right? They buy Dusty Trip. It kind of gets pay to win. They add in a bunch of microtransaction. Game dies, right? Blade Ball, same thing. Oh my God, the amount of microtransaction and pay to win features in Blade Ball. Boom, look at that. Game dead. Fish, guess what Fish started doing? They added in a bunch of microtransactions. And now, well, let's actually take a look and see how Fish is doing. So here's the page for Fish. Let's scroll on down here. Let's go to the player charts. Let's go by daily players, concurrent players, and as you can see, it is going down, 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 down. But hold on a minute. What about Blade Ball, right? What about Blade Ball, right? Blade Ball is one of the biggest games on Roblox. How is it doing here? Well, let's take a look. Daily players, all players, and down, 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 down. What about a Dusty Trip? Let's check out a Dusty Trip here. Let's look at its player counts. Same thing. Daily players, all time, and down, 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 down. Now, is that same thing going to happen to Grow a Garden? Probably. Honestly, probably at some point. Because honestly, like I said, this is what these big studios do. They buy these games for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I mean, look, let's be honest. If you're a Roblox developer, you're probably, you know, maybe like 17, 18, 19. You probably don't have a lot of money. This big company comes in and says, hey, I'm going to buy your game for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're going to get rich. Do you want to sell your game? Most people would say yes, right? Like, obviously, people would say yes. And so these big companies, let me just join a private server here. After they buy the game, they then load it up with microtransactions and pay to win stuff in order to get as much money as possible. Like literally, just look at all this stuff right here. Check this out. You've got all these crates. You've got the Wheel of Gambling. Look at all the things that you can buy on the screen right now. Like, this is insane. You've got rewards over here. You've got like some sort of like Lego thing going on. You've got this here you can buy. You've got the spin wheel here. You've got a whole Easter game pass down here. There is so much microtransactions in this game that it would probably cost you thousands of dollars just to get everything in the game. And again, if we go back to...
Are you a Roblox fanatic? Microsoft Rewards has a brand new way for you to earn digital gift cards from Roblox.
Just sign up for Microsoft Rewards, then search, play, and shop on Edge.
To the player counts for the game, it's no surprise that people stop playing it. Big companies, they just buy a game, load it up with microtransactions and pay to win features, right? Game then dies, and then they just move on to the next game, rinse and repeat. And to be fair, it's not just Do Big that does this. There are other game studios that do this as well. Actually, just want to take a moment. I found this while researching for this video. Apparently, Fish, yeah, the Roblox game Fish, they have an energy drink sponsor, which honestly, I kind of want to try it, but like, this is the most random collab of all time. They were just like, money? Yes. But dude, this is so funny. They actually got a Fish Roblox energy drink. That's actually kind of crazy. But you know what? I'm not hating on that. That's actually kind of funny. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, right? So Voldex, you know, the Roblox game studio Voldex, they brought Brookhaven. I'm sure you guys remember this. This happened, wow, this was like a few months ago or something like that. Yeah, February, right? Brookhaven gets sold. Roblox is the biggest game of all time. And the people who bought it is Voldex. These people right here, this company right here. Now, you'll notice something interesting on their game page here, right? Let's take a look at their games. So I'm going to click on their games. These are the games that they mentioned. These are the featured games. I can't see any other games on the website. Just these three. Well, did you know that Dungeon Quest, you know Dungeon Quest, right? This is a very classic Roblox game at this point. I remember when this game blew up. It's a lot of fun. Well, Dungeon Quest is actually owned by Voldex. But wait a minute. If they own Dungeon Quest, why is it not on their website? Where is it? I don't see it anywhere. Well, the reason why, and as this video here by Crazy Captain kind of details, Voldex kind of killed the game. You see, they bought the game a little bit ago, and then they just kind of loaded it up with microtransactions. And this game kind of, or this video kind of details all of that, right? Like, check this out right here. We added a new subscription to the game Dungeon Quest Plus. For $5 a month, you can get Quick Swap, you can get Auto Sell, you can get a VIP Game Pass, you can get a free skill reset Game Pass, you can get all this stuff. It's $5 a month for a Roblox game. That's like half the price of a Netflix subscription or something. Like, that's crazy. One Roblox game. So they loaded up with microtransactions and pay to win features, and then guess what happened? Well, shout out to this YouTube video here, Lucky Ducky. You see, game kind of dies a little bit, and then Voldex announces, hey, we're actually moving on. We're no longer going to be updating Dungeon Quest. The developers are going to be moving on to other big, exciting projects. This is a screenshot from the Dungeon Quest Discord by one of the staff members there. Now, what's funny about this screenshot is if you look at the date, it's February 3rd, right? February 3rd, they're like, hey, we're moving on from Dungeon Quest, attend to and developed. Sorry, guys, we're abandoning it, which is, of course, why it's not on their website anymore. Now, guess what happened literally a day after they announced that they're abandoning Dungeon Quest? Oh, look at that. They're buying Brookhaven, February 4th, 2025. They're like, you know what, Dungeon Quest, we've made all the money that we can from you. You're going over there. You're going in the trash. Brookhaven, this is our new shiny toy. This is our new game right here. So Voldex buys Brookhaven, and now look at that. Dungeon Quest isn't on the page anymore. And look, there's Brookhaven. It's kind of taken its place. And you see, that's the thing about these big, large gaming studios on Roblox, like Do Big, like Voldex, and there are a bunch of other ones, right? The large majority of them, they simply do not care about the community. They do not care about the players. They do not care about anything other than the fact that they need to make money. And I'll tell you why. You see, a lot of these big companies, how they have so much money to buy these games with is because of investors, right? A bunch of rich dudes come in and say, hey, we're going to give you millions of dollars. You're going to go and buy these games. You're going to make us money. It's like Roblox. The reason why they come up with all these stupid, dumb updates is because the investors want it. And the investors are the ones giving them money, so they have to do it. Like, for example, if you go on Voldex's game page here, you can see that they got a bunch of money from a bunch of different basically rich people, right? Just listen to how corporate this sounds. To continue to better support our live games and to take on more games from talented creators, we decided to raise a Series A. We are extremely excited that our Series A was led by A16Z with continued investment from Dune Ventures, Makers Fund, POW Interactive, and a new investment from Mitch Garber's Lolit Ventures. Andrew Chin, general partner at A16Z, has joined our board. Yeah, that doesn't really sound like people that just love making Roblox games for the sake of making Roblox games. You know what I mean? And I should say this, little disclaimer, okay? I know people that work at Voldex. I know people that work at Do Big. I know people that work at a lot of these really big gaming studios, and a lot of them are really lovely people, okay? So don't take this personally towards anyone, but the reality is, and tell me when I'm telling lies, because I'm not. The reality is these large companies, they have to make their money back, or else the investors will stop investing. So whether the individual people that work at these companies care about the games that they are creating and developing and coding and all this, that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the company has one goal and one directive, and that is to make money, right? That's just simply how it is. It's like Roblox, for example. Roblox, I love Roblox, right? I love the people that work at Roblox. But if it came down to it, right? If it came down to it, to the point where Roblox was like, hey, we got to get Creekcraft off the platform. We got to ban him off the platform, right? Or else the investors are going to stop investing. Bro, they would cut me out of there so fast, right? Because at the end of the day, Roblox's primary directive is to make money, right? That's just how it is. Welcome to capitalism, baby. Sorry, I'm getting heated. I hate talking about this stuff. I really do. But we got to have this conversation. And in response to this, a lot of people will say, hey, look, games have a peak and they have a fall. No Roblox game is popular forever. And yeah, that is true, right? That is true with any game. But there are plenty of Roblox games out there that are made by genuine developers that actually legitimately care about the game and the community surrounding that game. And those games still have a very vibrant and very uplifting and very alive community to this day, despite those games being years old. Let me give you some examples.
What happens when real patients move curing hepatitis C from their to-do list to their today list?
I was able to move forward without Hep C doing more damage to my body.
Understanding side effects was important to me. I talked to my doctor about Epclusa.
Epclusa treats all types of chronic hepatitis C.
I thought treatment would interrupt my life, but one pill a day.
Examples. Roblox Jailbreak. This game came out in 2017. It is still getting updates. And yeah, the game is nowhere near as big as it used to be. But this game still has a very active and very vibrant community because the developers are still updating the game and they still care about the game and the community. The greatest example, Piggy. Look at this. This game has stopped updating. It ended years ago. The main story has ended years ago. There's 1 or 2 updates a year, right? The main quest, the main story is done. Yes, there's a new game coming out soon, but for the time being, Piggy is pretty much done. The story is complete, right? Despite that, the game still gets the occasional updates, and this game still has one of the largest communities on Roblox. The Piggy community is massive. In fact, to this day, Piggy content still gets some of the most views on my channel and the most engagement on this channel, despite it being 5 years old. Now, why is that? Why do these games have the ability to live 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but games like Blade Ball and Fish and Dusty Trip, how come they just die out after a few months? Well, it's because of this right here. These developers, these large companies, they just load the game up with microtransactions because they want to just get as much money as possible. And once they've wrung the cow dry, they kill it, take it around back, boom, old Yeller, and then they move on to the next game. That's just how it works. Like this guy said, they make their bag and then they dip. I don't know, man. I could keep like ranting about this for probably like another hour if I wanted to. It just sucks to see so many of the big games on Roblox like just get taken over by these soulless companies, right? And again, I hate calling them that because I know a lot of the people that work there, but let's be honest, that's what they are. I don't even know what the point of this video was. I just really, you know, I wanted to rant about this. I saw these tweets and it's annoying because it's like, this is the way that Roblox is going, right? 5 to 10 years from now, probably almost every big game on Roblox is going to be owned by these giant companies because you make a moderately successful game. Here comes a big company. Hey, we're going to give you $100,000 for this game. And boom, there you go. Right. It's like you just can't compete with it. It's annoying. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you guys next time.
After her days with Wonder Girls, Sunmi quickly rose to become one of the biggest solo acts in K-pop. But now, as we're well into 2025, it's been almost a year since she's had an official release. It's surprising to see someone who once ruled the chart slip so quietly out of the spotlight, and it has made people wonder what really happened along the way. If there's one thing that K-pop fans know about the industry, things move so fast that even the biggest stars can fade if they don't keep putting out new music. It's tough for fans to accept sometimes, but once the momentum slows down, the public's attention shifts elsewhere, and unfortunately, Sunmi is a clear example of this. She first made her name as part of Wonder Girls and had already shown hints of her solo potential with songs like 24 Hours and Full Moon. When Wonder Girls eventually disbanded and Sunmi left JYP Entertainment, it seemed like she was set up for success. After spending 12 years under JYP, Sunmi admitted that making the move to a new agency wasn't easy. Still, she felt it was necessary because she needed someone who would push her to grow. She explained that she didn't want to keep doing the same thing over and over, but wanted the freedom to explore different sides of herself, both for the public and her fans. Luckily, she said that the company she joined had a relaxed, supportive environment that gave her the space to do just that. So, considering everything, her move to Make Us Entertainment, later known as Abyss Company, looked like the right decision, especially when her first release under the new label Gashina exploded in popularity. From there, it felt like Sunmi could do no wrong. She dropped hit after hit, Siren, Heroine, Noir, La La La, each one strengthening her place as one of K-pop's top soloists. Along the way, she even carved out her own distinct musical identity, something fans and media eventually named Sunmi Pop. It blended K-pop's usual pop, disco, rock, traditional Korean influences, retro sounds, and city pop, all wrapped up in Sunmi's unique style. The term Sunmi Pop gained real traction too. Yonhap News brought it to Sunmi's attention, and Abyss officially acknowledged it by sharing an article highlighting her signature genre just ahead of her La 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 comeback. So, for a while, Sunmi had it all, back-to-back hits, critical praise, public love, and a packed schedule. Everything seemed to be going smoothly for Sunmi, until 2020 hit. That year marked the beginning of a slow but noticeable decline in her popularity. Each new comeback seemed to make less noise than the one before. Her songs stopped topping charts, her name wasn't trending like it used to, and she wasn't as visible everywhere anymore. It makes you wonder, what exactly changed, and is there a clear reason behind the shift? One thing that keeps coming up is how tough it is for female soloists to stay popular long-term. There are a few rare cases like IU, Taeyeon, Baekhyun, and Baek Ayeon who've managed to hold on to strong careers, but for most, the public's attention eventually fades. Newer acts pop up all the time, and people, unfortunately, tend to move on quickly. Take Hyuna, for example. She was once the biggest solo name out there, but after Lip and Hip and her exit from Cube, her popularity slowly started slipping with every release. The same pattern can be seen with Chungha and even Hwasa. It feels like both casual listeners and K-pop fans are always looking for the next fresh face, and when releases from older artists slow down, so does the hype around them. As a Reddit user explained, I feel like this is fairly common for female soloists. They have a bit of a boom, they're everywhere, they're top of the charts, but eventually the GP moves on to the next new shiny thing. Another person shared that Sunmi really squeezed everything she could out of her signature style, especially during her peak from Gashina through Porapipam. They thought it was impressive how long she kept that momentum going, but once she stepped away from that familiar sound and tried something different, it didn't land the same way with the public. They also pointed out that since Sunmi isn't viewed as a standout vocalist like Taeyeon, she's not held in quite the same regard. In their eyes, Sunmi's career will probably settle into a more modest, steady place now, and to them, there's nothing wrong with that. Another reason people point to is Sunmi's and her company's involvement with NFTs. In 2022, Abyss Company revealed they were launching the Sunmia Club, a collection of digital profile picture NFTs based on Sunmi. Buyers were promised special perks like fan meetings, private parties, and even chances to share profits, all designed to make the NFT seem like a smart investment. However, the announcement didn't sit well with many fans. Concerns quickly grew over the massive environmental damage NFTs cause, the way they often lead to art theft, and how easily they can be used for shady activities like money laundering, so it's not hard to see why a lot of people were upset. A fan told her, "I love you and you have my support in every project of yours except for this one." But instead of addressing fans' concerns, both Sunmi and Abyss stood firm on their decision. After the backlash, Abyss released a statement saying the NFT project was meant to help Sunmi's music and character live on in a more diverse space, and to honor the love and support from fans over the years. Rather than calming the situation, it only made fans even more frustrated. Sunmi's own response didn't help either. In fact, it made things worse. She told fans that everything she does, from making music to writing lyrics, is for them. She shared that for 15 years, she had always worried about what her fans would enjoy, and to her, it was only natural that sometimes her choices might upset or disappoint them. She even asked, "Don't you know me well?" and said she just hoped fans would trust her because she wanted to show them even better things in the future. However, the most controversial part of the statement was when she said, "If you're hurt and you're tired, then you can leave. I'll keep being on stage, so if you miss me sometimes, please come back." What really upset fans, though, was when Sunmi told them to leave the fandom if they didn't agree with her decisions. That came across as dismissive and hurtful to many, with a user saying, "Not her trying to make her fans feel bad, you made a bad choice, just face it." Fans were especially puzzled when Sunmi appeared to prioritize her NFT project over her fans. Some felt she was pressuring them to support or invest in the project, and as a result, many fans chose to stop supporting her. The negative feedback spread beyond her fan base, causing a lot of people to lose interest in anything Sunmi related, from her music to her appearances on variety shows. As expected, the NFT project didn't go as planned, and things quickly took a turn for the worse. In late 2022, the collapse of Terra Luna and the bankruptcy of the US crypto exchange FTX triggered a massive market crash. As a result, the value of Sunmi's NFTs dropped drastically, from millions of one per unit to just a few tens of thousands. Sunmi had heavily promoted the project, even appearing in videos with Metacong CEO Lee Do-hee to talk about her NFT venture. Because of her strong involvement, some investors accused her of a rug pull, a scam where creators make exaggerated promises to lure in investors before disappearing with their money. In defense, the issuing company claimed they had met all milestones outlined in the original roadmap and used the funds for operational costs and developing a new platform. Despite the company's explanation, many fans lost respect for Sunmi over the incident and decided to stop supporting her altogether. However, if we're being completely honest, the main reason for Sunmi's drop in popularity seems to be the way her company has been handling her career. As we mentioned, after joining her current company, she released hit songs and went on a successful world tour, with many shows selling out, with reports saying that the Seoul concert sold out in just 5 seconds seconds after tickets went live, and even adding more dates due to high demand. But things started to take a downturn after 2020. The comebacks became sparse, mostly digital singles or albums, and since then, she's only had one mini album. With such a long wait between releases and songs that began to sound similar to the public, it's no surprise that Sunmi's popularity started to fade. Her company appeared to be unsure about her direction, giving her just one comeback a year, hoping that would be enough to maintain public interest. After each release, Sunmi would disappear from the spotlight for extended periods, losing the hype and attention people might have had. Even her fans have noticed the issue. Many mentioned how Sunmi often talks about working on new music and has mentioned plans for a full album, including a promise for a 2019 summer release. But then she would suddenly say there wouldn't be new music anytime soon, and there was no mention of an album after that. Fans have speculated that her company might be rejecting, delaying, or even canceling her comebacks altogether, but of course, we have no confirmation of that. Since her comeback with the single Balloon in Love last June, Sunmi has been active in festivals and events, appeared on variety shows, and even teamed up with Chungha for the track Salty. However, she has or OSTs. It's hard to believe she was once one of the top soloists in K-pop, and now she's barely in the spotlight. It seems like her only chance of regaining her previous success is by releasing another hit that resonates with the public, drawing attention back to her. But even then, it would depend on her company to capitalize on that viral moment, which, given their track record, seems unlikely. Do you think Sunmi can reclaim her former glory, or has her time in the spotlight passed? Let us know what you think in the comments, and thank you for watching.
Taipei, a bustling Asian metropolis. When the sun sets and the city winds down, the children of Taipei can be found here. What? This is what a typical Friday night looks like in the life of Chen and Shen.
从6点左右开始一路上课上到晚上10点回家。
应该说下课就进班，基本上是每天都会来。
Week after week, tens of thousands of students just like them go from after school straight to cram school. What is it all for?
对，来补习班就是准备考试，
是为了拼一个比较好的学历吧。
Taiwan's school system is basically a survival game. You take a standardized test to place into middle school, then another test for high school placement. If you don't do well on these two tests, you're out. Test prep courses, shouting motivational slogans, and endless practice tests. Students must do whatever it takes to survive. And this isn't just a Taiwan thing. Japan, China, Singapore, and South Korea all have similar educational systems. Among the largest cities in East Asia, an average of 6 out of every 10 students attend cram schools. And it's not for nothing. In a 2018 PISA test, the top 3 countries in every subject were East Asian countries. And every single one of the top 10 students in the 2021 International Informatic Olympiad were all of Asian descent.
Oh wait, the guy from the United States is also Asian. Never mind. They're all Asian basically.
あまり驚きません。
Okay, yeah. Seems right.
Seems right? Yeah. Obviously. So expected.
If If you look at only test scores, the East Asian educational system is a huge success, but it all comes at a great cost. A literally great cost.
高中的全科花到将近10万，全报的话是70-80万左右。
Plus, it's not for everyone.
高一的时候有去补习，下场很惨，成绩反而退步。
No. I'm sorry, no, because I was so devastated after that. I came home and I'm like, no, I don't want to leave home anymore.
So, if cram schools are so expensive and not always effective, why do so many East Asian countries still swear by them? And does being good at tests really mean you'll be good at life? How does cram school culture affect society as a whole? Question 1. Does being good at tests really mean you'll be good at life? The answer is absolutely. At least in ancient China, where testing reigned supreme. Here's a little story. This is Sun Jing, and this is Su Qing. They like to study, but studying makes them tired. So they did what typical people do. They took a nap. Then suddenly they realized they didn't want to be typical people. So Sun Jing took a rope, tied his hair to a pillar. That way he could study without falling asleep. Su Qing, on his end, took a sharp awl and stabbed himself every time he felt sleepy. Then he could study harder and longer. In the end, both these men became important officials in history, and their stories were combined and memorialized in the Chinese language as an idiom.
悬梁刺股的故事，对，以前国文课有教过这样子。
努力不懈，一直读书吧。
The idiom 悬梁刺股 is still widely used to this day, which shows how being hardcore in your studies is fully ingrained in Chinese culture. Even the emperor in those days had to show his respect towards scholars.
也就是说，在传统的一个社会里面，我们强调的就是勤学苦读。勤学苦读是一切成功的保证。
And there was one test that ensured the Chinese love for studying would last thousands of years: the imperial examinations. The imperial examinations were a series of tests to select candidates for government positions. A student in the early 1600s would have to first pass a series of examinations to become a holder of a basic degree, or 秀才. That's when the real testing would begin. The 秀才 would then have to pass the provincial exam and then the metropolitan exam. You fail, you lose. According to Qing Dynasty records, out of 10 million people, only 5 successfully went from 秀才 all the way to passing the metropolitan exam. You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning. Many people went well into their 40s and 50s, still trying to pass the first apprentice exam. But for those top gunners who made it to the end, the final palace exam was administered by the emperor himself. These lucky few received a new wardrobe, financial security, and honor for their family. All you needed was to get right with this test. Ancient Chinese people studied hard in hopes of a better life. And since Chinese culture had a huge influence on surrounding areas, studiousness became a core value in the countries we know today as East Asia.
사농공상이라고 해가지고 공부를 하는, 나중에 그 정부에서 조정에서 일을 하는 이런 학자들, 선비들이 사회적 입지가 가장 높아요.
2,000 years later, people in East Asia still fervently believe in the importance of studying. But can such values really pass down through the millennia?
那原先我的想法也大致上是这样子，可后来发现其实没那么简单。能够让家里的孩子长期的去准备科举考试，其实那在总人口的百分比里面其实是不多的。我们如果要去思考说，在今天的社会，为什么升学主义的影响这么大的时候，我们得去思考一个问题，是因为我们今天的社会开始现代化。
After the Second World War, several East Asian economies experienced rapid growth. Taiwan, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Singapore were known as the 4 Asian Tigers. And many well-known global brands from this region were formed during this period. In this post-war Reconstruction period, the 4 Asian Tigers dazzled the international community, and this is largely attributed to the East Asian emphasis on education. But good education wasn't enough. These countries needed a way to sift through the masses to find the leaders among them.
要走向管理决策、领导这阶层的学生，其实不需要那么多，好，所以他在高中的时候就筛掉一次，只有30%的可以念高中，然后高中升大学的时候再筛掉一次，那最后的胜利者呢，他就去念了大学。
So if you knew there were only a few spots in the winner's circle, getting one means you're set for life. Power, money, opportunities. What would you do? You'd fight for it, and fight hard. The game is on. And the best training grounds for these little gladiators? Cram schools. Want to do well on the exams that will pretty much determine the rest of your life? Come cram with us.
大致上我们可以看到2件事情，它在交互作用。一个因素是来自于传统因素，一个因素是来自于现代化的因素。那这整个加起来呢，在学校的部分我们叫做升学主义，在社会的部分我们叫文凭主义。
2,000 years of examination culture coupled with the modern need for competitiveness. Welcome to the age of Asian cram schools and credentialism. In Taiwan, you can find a convenience store on almost every block. But the reality is, there are even more cram schools than convenience stores. Meet Zhan Hao and Zhou Jie. They've been teaching at cram schools for
10几年，30年左右。
They're 2 of the most famous cram school teachers in Taiwan.
升学主义在20-30年前，我刚踏入补教界的时候是非常非常严重的，让补习班的生意是欣欣向荣。
以前会有所谓的半夜要来排队，会有爸爸妈妈要代替来排队抽号码牌，因为我们一个教室的大小很大，可能离黑板太远。
这里是7楼，他会这样一排到1楼。
Parents know the power of having good credentials, and now they want their kids to understand too. They also want them to hear their wishes, so they bring various offerings as well as their child's exam admission ticket, and they pray for the best results. Because when so much is at stake, luck plays an important role too.
我们会有一个传承的活动，上来跟每一位学长握手，把这个考试的好手气传给学弟妹。
就主要也是怕孩子未来长大之后，这个没有办法顺利结婚，没有办法买房子。
Oh, so you corporate types think you're rock stars?
That's as ridiculous as us being corporate types. Let's begin.
Rock. What you got to say about Project 2025? Have you heard of Agenda 47? Say what? Agenda 47. Nah. It's the actual platform that Trump is going to push when he becomes president.
I've had people attack me, tell me that I'm being paid by Iran to push Project 2025. That's not what's happening, okay? Let me be clear, that's not what's happening. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deja, your friendly neighborhood concerned citizen. If watching my Project 2025 video brought you here, let me just say that I'm so happy that you're here. But I feel like I've been screaming into a void since last year when I first started reading and posting about Project 2025. It feels amazing to have so many eyes on it and to have so many people who are interested in what it's saying. It's been a true grassroots effort to get information out to the masses. For me, it's a testament of what can be achieved on social media when we're all kind of focused on one goal. Another reason why you're probably watching this video is because you're hearing or reading or seeing things like this.
It's supposed to make it illegal to be. Has nothing to do with Trump. Trump has neither endorsed nor supported this platform.
Or you're reading things like Project 2025 is fear-mongering, or a crowd favorite for me has been, this is the left's boogeyman, or this is Dems' boogeyman, which I always find interesting because it means that you infer my political affiliation by the fact that I'm having a conversation and telling people to read something. I've had people attack me, tell me that I'm being paid by Iran to push Project 2025. That's not what's happening, okay? Let me be clear, that's not what's happening. Don't let anyone convince you that reading a book is fear-mongering. Books are written to be read. It's not fearsome because because of the readers. If what's written in the book is fearsome, it's fearsome because of what the authors chose to write down. The authors of this book have authored many mandates for leadership, but this is the first time on a large scale that young people are actually reading it and paying attention to it. That's all that's happening. People are paying attention. And if people paying attention to something that was written is a problem, then my spidey senses tell me that that's something that we should be paying even more attention to. What's happening is that when people are paying attention, it can be frustrating, especially when you built an entire nation of people who would rather not talk about politics and choose to just let other people handle it rather than just being aware of what's actually going on around them. That's it. That's what's happening. As we dive in, I want to be clear on who this video is for. And then I want to share with you the 2 reasons why I chose not to mention President Trump in my first Project 2025 video. My intended audience for this video is not the people who have already made the decision not to vote. I respect your right not to vote. I'm not going to spend any time here convincing people why they should vote. History has shown me the monstrous effort that people have put into making sure certain people don't vote. We're talking intimidation, we're talking literacy tests, we're talking poll fees, we're talking redrawing district lines. You name it, they've done it. And for that reason alone, I personally believe that if it didn't matter, they would not have done any of those things. They would have just let it ride.
They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
For me, you don't apply that much pressure for nothing. If you're interested at all in learning all of the ways that your right to vote has been attacked over the years and is still under attack today, I will gladly make a video one day.
But it is not this day.
But it is not this day. My intended audience for this video is for people who want to be more aware of the world around them. The people who have an icky feeling in the pit of their stomach, or the people who just don't feel comfortable about sitting on the sidelines or opting out of civic engagement. If that's you, grab some tea, let's get cozy, and we're just going to chat a little bit about the relationship between Agenda 47 and Project 2025. What is Agenda 47? Agenda 47 represents the broader goals and policy priorities of the Trump administration. You can view it on his website. But there's 2 things that are really easy to notice. The broad, sweeping concepts that are listed actually lack the fine details of how these things will actually work, how they'll actually happen. This is intentional. This isn't the place to fully expand on strategy to actually make these things happen. It's just listing out the priority. The second thing that's really easy to see after reading it is that everything on this list is listed in Project 2025 in explicit detail on how they're actually going to do these things. That's the difference between an agenda and a policy handbook like the Mandate for Leadership. What is Project 2025? I have a deeper dive on Project 2025 that you can watch here. I also have quite a few short form videos where I've started doing things like breaking down the specific chapters that you can check out if you need an additional debrief or a brush up on what Project 2025 is. So we won't get too deep in the weeds here. If you do need a refresher, go check out this video. This book was developed by the Heritage Foundation. Project 2025 provides a comprehensive conservative policy aimed at influencing current and future administrations. We're going to put a pin in current and come back to it. It's made up of detailed policy recommendations. So you might have heard people saying something like, it's just a wish list. There's a difference between wish lists and policy recommendations, training programs for policymakers, and more importantly, strategic guidance on a wide range of issues. If one were to read both Agenda 47 and the Mandate for Leadership, you would easily begin to see where these things overlap. For example, Agenda 47 calls for cutting federal funding for any school that's teaching accurate history instead of a watered-down ideological revisionist history. Project 2025 also specifically calls for doing the same. You can find that overlap here, and here, and here. But I'm already seeing elements of Project 2025 here, Deja, without Trump in office. Why is that? Good question. The answer to that, my friend, is why I chose not to mention President Trump in my first Project 2025 video in the first place. It's because I really wanted y'all to understand that Project 2025 is so much bigger than Trump. It's so much bigger than him. He truly is a puppet. And I know that we like to think, oh, he does his own thing. He does his own thing within the confines that corporations that have purchased him will allow.
We have to make life good for our smart people.
And the rollbacks and reforms that we are seeing while he's not even in office should paint that picture pretty clearly. Make no mistake, I'm not being dramatic when I say this. Trump would definitely be jet fuel to the plan, but it's the inner workings that we should be paying attention to that are actually making movement possible right now, even when he's not in office. This is the long game. Even if Trump didn't win this election, that wouldn't mean the end of fighting against Project 2025. The ideology from this book is spread throughout our government's elected officials. Your Congress, that's your House of Representatives, your members of the Senate, your state legislators, your school districts, your judges, your sheriffs, your coroners, your county clerks. This is systemic. Okay, October. You can lay there. Do you want to sit here? You have to chill down. I'm trying to put the people on. Okay, if I'm being 100% with you, we are up against corruption on all levels. Doesn't matter what your political party is, it's there. And in my honest opinion, solely focusing on Trump and the presidential election is like going to the beach in 90-degree weather, laying down on your giant beach towel and only putting sunscreen on your face. How can that be? The authors of the Heritage Foundation are just a conservative think tank. They have no power, Deja. Another great question, friend. Here's where we talk about the difference between direct influence and indirect influence. The short answer is it doesn't matter. Not only is it incredibly dishonest for Trump to say that he doesn't know anything about Project 2025.
On behalf of all of you, our 1.5 million members of Heritage over the last decade, to introduce President Donald Trump.
But birds of a feather flock together, and a significant chunk of people closest to him authored it. I'll hit you with this scenario. So for example, imagine if you work in an office as a project manager and you have direct reports. You, as their manager, have direct influence over your team because you are the boss. This means you have the authority to assign tasks, to set deadlines, to evaluate their performance. You are able to provide clear instructions, establish expectations, and directly manage their work. Make sure tasks are completed and you meet project deadlines. Having this direct influence allows you to guide your team's efforts and allows you to achieve immediate results. However, managing complex projects often requires collaborating with other teams. You need subject matter experts. You need coworkers who are not your direct reports. So let's switch this up a little bit. And instead of being the project manager in this scenario, you're a consultant. As a consultant, you have no direct influence. No one is reporting to you. So you have to rely on indirect influence to get your job done effectively. Indirect influence comes in the form of building strong working relationships with these colleagues.
Finally, I want to express our gratitude to Kay James and the dedicated scholars and staff at the Heritage Foundation. Thank you very much.
Understanding what their level of expertise is, demonstrating the importance of your expertise, and understanding how all those things contribute to your project, your goal. At that point, the biggest tools in your tool belt are going to be persuasion and collaboration. Hopefully, if you've done your job well, you're able to motivate and inspire these people who do not report to you to support the project in their specifically unique way. And you're able to do this even though you do not have direct authority over them. By leveraging your knowledge and the project goals, you're now able to influence action and get cooperation. And this is how you're able to ensure that all of the parts align, everyone involved in the project aligns, and the project runs smoothly. That is indirect influence.
With your help, we have not only nominated, but confirmed the new Supreme Court Justice.
Direct influence involves the immediate specific actions to achieve goals, like a manager giving a direct order or a president signing a bill. Indirect influence occurs through advocacy, policy recommendations, and the creation of a supportive environment for specific policy. It involves shaping attitudes and practices over time, like a manager providing training. Think tanks, interest groups, advisory panels, they all often exert this type of influence by shaping public opinion, providing research, media appearances, and one of the biggest tools of them all, lobbying. All of these tools are in the tool belt of people who use indirect influence to get laws passed, to sway public opinion. And I think it's important for Americans to really truly understand that ideology that can be bought and paid for is what influences our laws.
But Elon endorsed me the other day.
Again, I know that we like to believe Trump makes his own rules and he's not going to listen to anybody, but at the end of the day, he can't know everything. It's impossible. Understanding that a president more often than not relies on various government offices, agencies, advisors to gather gather the information needed to make important decisions in policies. Think of this process like outsourcing. We're delegating tasks and responsibilities to and from other departments, each with a specific level of expertise. For example, the Department of Defense provides insights on military matters. The Department of the Treasury offers economic and financial data. The Department of State provides foreign policy information. This delegation ensures that the president receives specialized, detailed, accurate information from the experts in each field, which allows the president to cover more ground. He is not a standalone figure making his own decisions. A fantastic question would be, if there's no such thing as indirect influence, wouldn't lobbying not only be illegal, but unnecessary?
But he gives me $45 million a month.
Why would Elon Musk be so willing to funnel $45 million a month into a campaign that wouldn't promise a return on his investment? This is yet another example of indirect influence. Elon Musk is not an elected official. He is not in office, and yet he is buying influence of policies.
Hello friends, Editing Deja here. I just wanted to give you a quick update. Since I recorded this video, President Biden has dropped out of the presidential election, which has shaken things up for the Republican Party. Immediately after the fallout of this, Elon Musk has come out and says that he is not donating $45 million a month to the Trump campaign, even though he did create a super PAC in his honor called the America PAC, so look that up. Just wanted to make sure that I was giving you guys relevant information. Don't come for me because I updated you.
America is being run by corporations. And if you're not paying attention, that's the reason why so many tech giants are throwing their hat in the ring, because they know who will allow unfettered deregulation and allow them to run their businesses unchecked and unchallenged.
There are no nations. There's Apple, Exxon, and Berkshire Hathaway. Corporations are the real superpowers here. You should be able to operate without any regulation or restriction whatsoever. After all, you're billionaires. You are smart enough to know what's best. Bottom line, you support me, and that is what you'll fucking get.
These corporations are buying indirect influence and robbing the average American. Heritage Foundation influence. Contrary to popular belief, the Heritage Foundation isn't just a bunch of smucks who got together and wrote something.
Juvederm collection of fillers. The filler brand patients trust and recommend. Add volume to get smooth, natural-looking, long-lasting results with the Juvederm collection of fillers. For every side of you. Find out more at juvederm.com. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. Unintentional injection into a blood vessel is a rare risk which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. For more important safety information and to find a licensed specialist, visit juvederm.com.
Out. The Heritage Foundation is not the new kid on the block. In fact, you, dear watcher, they're probably older than you.
I congratulate you on your 30th anniversary as the president. No such thing as term limits here.
Finally, I want to express our gratitude and the dedicated scholars and staff at the Heritage Foundation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great job.
They're not a bunch of nobodies because they've already influenced multiple presidencies.
Has taken the conservative movement from one that used to meet in a phone booth here in Washington to a robust group of folks who are shaping policy in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, you got a little bigger phone booth these days than you did 30 years ago.
Including President Trump's first administration.
Legendary institution, which is what it is, has been at the forefront of the conservative movement, helping lead the fight to defend our cherished American history, culture, and traditions.
They have been a part of Republican policymaking for decades.
Appreciate all you've done, and I really want to thank Heritage. One of the interesting things about the Heritage legacy is that the folks here have been tireless advocates, tireless champions of liberty and free enterprise and democracy and religious freedom.
Not just policy alignment, but direct collaborations. They're also one of the sponsors for the RNC. They've already disclosed themselves that they meet with congressional staff over 400 times a year and meet with members of Congress over 120 times a year.
I had one message for him. Do not wait to sign that bill. If you wait even an hour, you will look weak. This bill needs to be signed immediately.
I'm not speaking from a place of, these are just some randos.
Iowa was the first state that we got to work in, and we did it quickly and we did it quietly. Honestly, nobody noticed. At the end of the day, the bill that Governor Kemp signed and the Georgia legislature marshaled through had 8 key provisions that Heritage recommended.
Friends, I wouldn't waste my time reading this if it was just a bunch of randos.
We're working with these state legislators to make sure they have all of the information they need to draft the bills. In some cases, we actually draft them for them, or we have a sentinel on our behalf give them the model legislation. So it has that grassroots, from the bottom up type of vibe.
Trump's administration already adopted numerous policy recommendations, tax cuts, economic policy, conservative judicial appointments. Whenever someone tries to dismiss the authors who wrote this, it lets me know that they're not really understanding how this was a collective effort of over 100 conservative groups all across the aisle. They may not always align with things or how to go about it, but for the most part, they're on the same page within a political framework. If you haven't been living under a rock, you've already probably seen several recent Supreme Court decisions. These decisions are reflected in the conservative policies of Project 2025 and Agenda 47. These decisions align with the broader scope and strategic vision that's being promoted by these conservative blueprints. I really dislike the phrase missing the forest for the trees, but that is what is happening, which is why what's probably even more important than what's happening at the federal level is what's happening right now at the local level. The Oklahoma State Department of Education recently announced a complete overhaul of the state's social studies standards. The list of people who will craft the new standards for an entire state includes radio talk show host Dennis Prager. He's a co-founder of PragerU, short for Prager University. I'd like to point out that Prager University is non-accredited and they create political propaganda content targeted towards children, and it's wrapped up and sold as education.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no?
On point. Another person who's going to be on the team of people who are working to create this new standard in education is the president of the Heritage Foundation himself, Kevin D. Roberts.
The reason that so many anchors on MS lines daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle on this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Trump can tell us all day that he doesn't know who authored Project 2025 or who the Heritage Foundation is.
Introduce President Donald Trump.
But that's up to you to make the decision if what he's telling you makes more sense than what you're seeing with your own eyes. Honestly, just adding to that, anything that I am sharing, understand that the scientific method applies to everything. If you can't take what I'm telling you and replicate it to produce or identify a result, throw it out. If you can't look at financial deregulations or the impact of privatizing public goods or the rewriting of history, and you can't see the detrimental impacts of those things on the wider society, throw it out. Local level impact. I'm going to keep hammering how important your local elections are. Recently, you probably saw AOC bring articles of impeachment up against 2 Supreme Court justices. And in the article, she accuses them of accepting bribery in the form of gifts, along with other things. Naysayers are already calling the move impossible. They're saying she's wasting her time. And if it doesn't work right now, what it does is it sets precedent going forward. It sets precedent for holding the Supreme Court accountable. A lot of people hear the word Supreme and they think that no one can touch them. But in actuality, the Supreme Court is held accountable by the House of Representatives. AOC is a member of Congress.
Reasonable Americans will and do believe that Justices Thomas and Alito are prone and subject to corruption, that the institution failing to punish them is broken, and that consequently, their impeachment is a constitutional imperative.
She was elected and in this case is representing the voice of her voters. And if more people at the local level chose members of the House with the understanding that you expect them to hold the line on accountability, on justice, or they won't have a job anymore, imagine how many more of your representatives would be making movement. But it starts locally. Okay, but what now? Y'all know I'm not going to load you with a bunch of information and just leave you hanging. So welcome to our working session. I have local elections in a few weeks, and I just want to make sure that I'm informed and that nothing is getting left out. I already know who my local representatives are, but we're just going to do a second dive in. I want to make sure that we're not just going off headlines or how candidates make us feel. What are their actual policies? What are they doing? What are they doing out in the community? It's just cold, hard facts. Reality as it is, not as we want it to be, but what it is. I'm going to show you how to identify your local representatives, research their policy. if possible, their voting records, their backgrounds, and their social media presence. This type of preparation going into your local elections is going to help you out so much. But wait, there's going to be a prerequisite to this. Before you do anything, I want you to take the time to ask yourself, what are my values? What do I expect out of my government that I pay taxes to? Recently, I was in a civics class. It was the first question that the teacher asked, and I shared what I expected from my government. I expected security. I expected a healthy population. I expected an educated population. I expected resources. This is what I expected my taxes to go to. And people often infer what my political affiliation is, and I could tell that this gentleman was doing exactly that because everything that I said, he felt the need to say almost like the exact opposite of. I would say something, he'd be like, I want less of that. And I was just like, okay, all right, brother. I could tell my answers were annoying him, and he wanted as little government as possible, which I had no qualms with. But what did make me give him bombastic side eye was when the subject of public goods came up. He then complained about 20 minutes for having to drive to the next town over to go to the library. And I was shocked because I realized in that moment, things that were important to him were not being represented by his local government. And that was impacting his life enough to where he was actually upset about it. He was upset enough to derail the class for a significant portion of time. I could tell that it's deeply affecting him that he had to go this far for this library and he had relied on it for certain things. But he couldn't close the gap. And in his mind, he thought that wanting your government that you pay taxes to take care of you in certain ways was dependency at best and government overreach at worst. So rather than be like this person, actually articulate your interests. What's truly important to you? Is it important for you to have a public library? Is it important if a tree falls down that you have the city come down and help you remove the tree? Or do you want to rely on your friends and neighbors? Is it your city's responsibility to fix potholes, or is it your personal responsibility that you should just drive around it? What are your values? Truly, not what you're told has to be your values or the values that you adopted from your family. What's important to you? What do you expect from your government? Once you have this figured out, proceed to step one. Step one, identify local representatives. So right now we're going to use commoncause.org. All you have to do is enter in your address and it will pull up the results for the representatives in your specific area. We can see based upon my address who my commander-in-chief is, and you can sort by federal, state, and local. So we're focusing specifically on state and local. These are your representatives. You should also look up when your local elections are. Cool. So here we're able to see key dates for our election. We know already what's going to be happening. We're actually able to vote early right now. So primary elections for the U.S. Senate, the House of Representatives, Tennessee State, even numbered districts, Tennessee House, and general elections will be held for vacant and judicial offices. You can also use sites like usvotefoundation.org that will lay out pretty clearly when your elections are and what dates you need to be aware of. Tennessee actually has an application. I would check to see if your state has an application, and in this application, I can see who my representatives are, but I can also see who's on the ballots.
Editing Deja here. I did want to let you know that another way you can get some information on your state and your state's elections would be doing a quick Google search to see if your state has a blue book. So for me, I would type in Tennessee Blue Book. It was only after searching the Supreme Court website that I actually found this blue book, and it's completely free of charge. Your representative is going to send it out to you, but it lists everything that you need to know specifically about your state and your state's election. They come out every year, so this is the one for 2023 and 2024, but it breaks down everything, and this is going to be specific to your state. So I would do a quick Google search if you need some more information to see if your state has that.
And then once I've identified who's on the ballots, I can do a little bit of research. Step 2, investigate. Check out their backgrounds. Check their social media. Find news articles about them. If you're not already, follow their social media accounts to stay updated on what they're talking about and what they're talking about current events. Learn about their professional and personal backgrounds to understand their influences and their interests. When I looked up the senator candidates in my state, I was pleasantly surprised that nearly all of them, if not all of them, were teachers. Don't just get hung up on the headlines. Actually go to their websites, deep dive into their policies, go to Reddit, check to see what people are saying, what people are actually saying about these specific candidates. Look at their voting records, their public statements, any legislation that they have sponsored or any initiatives that they champion in their communities. You'd be surprised at what you can find by looking people up. I was lucky enough to have found actual debates between certain judges. I also found oral arguments for Supreme Court cases, so you can learn who the people are who are supporting your district, deep dive into their policies and how have they been living out their values.
I don't want everybody to vote.
At the end of the day, I think what's most important is you'd be surprised at how much information is there if you just take a couple seconds to look. I know that not everybody's going to sit down and do the research. So, I'll give you an easy out. Rule of thumb is if somebody's already been elected multiple times, or you notice that they're spending a significant amount of their time clapping back or being edgy or being just everything that we don't really need in a political candidate, swap them out. Swap them out. There's genuinely good people out there who are actually fighting the good fight, who are actually fighting to make the community better for their constituents. An easy one that comes to mind for me is Gen Z Representative Justin Pearson. This is not an establishment person. This is someone genuinely trying to make their community better. Opt for the person who's trying to make your community better. Pay attention to who their friends are. If they have a bunch of career established friends, do with that information what you will. At the end of the day, I think that it's truly on us to start taking proactive steps to ensure that our representatives truly reflect and represent our values and interests, and then hold them accountable if they don't. Representative seats are up every 2 years. I care not about your political beliefs, only that we are aware and we are not putting our head in the sand. We do not fearmonger, we inform. We share only what we have confirmed from in-depth resources from different perspectives. We do this to develop a viewpoint that encompasses a contextual, sociological, historical understanding of the information that we are absorbing. Nothing happens in a vacuum. And now more than ever, we deserve conscious leaders who know that they will be held accountable by their constituents. But first, we have to know how we are able to hold them accountable. Our eyes are open. If you have some time, check out representus.org. I'm liking what I'm seeing from them. I'd love your guys' thoughts. They're a nonpartisan nonprofit. Their entire goal is to end political corruption in America, and they work to unite people across all political spectrums. They advocate for laws that stop political bribery, to end secret money, to fix broken elections, to make sure the government works for everyone and not just the billionaires and their indirect influence. After you check them out, come back here. I would love your thoughts. Come on, old man. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, so because we know that Agenda 47 is just that, an agenda, and Project 2025 encompasses Agenda 47 and represents a collective effort of over 100 conservative groups that have experience with influencing policy, my biggest suggestion is just to be aware. Even if you're like, okay, whatever, Deja, Project 2025, just be aware. Be aware. Things do not happen in a vacuum.
I know what's coming because I see it every day at the Texas Capitol. They are testing these ideas in states like Texas before they take them nationwide, banning books, banning abortion, forcing every teacher to display the 10 Commandments, replacing school counselors with untrained chaplains, defunding public schools to subsidize private Christian schools. We are sleepwalking toward theocracy, and we must act with the urgency that this moment demands.
Pay attention. Even if today forward, nothing else gets passed that's already in Project 2025, just simply be aware.
Side note, in my Project 2025 video, I asked that anybody who is scheduling to visit a city hall or a town hall drop a house emoji in the comment section. My heart was so happy when I saw how many house emojis. So if you're someone who did go to a town hall or is attending their city halls, let me know how it went. Drop it in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Thank y'all so much.
And finally, the second reason that I chose not to mention Trump in my first video is, one, I know that all conservatives and Republicans are not the same. They are not all MAGA. They are not all the Christian right. I live in the Deep South. I actually know a lot of Republicans who feel like their party has been hijacked. I didn't want to lump them all together when talking about this leadership mandate, but more so than any reason why I chose not to mention Trump is because his supporters can be extremely abusive. Even in a video where I did not mention him at all, extremely abusive. So I ask that if you've gotten this far in this video, simply do not engage with them. They are a distraction. Let them argue amongst themselves because honestly, we have work to do and too many other things to focus on. Nothing you say is going to change someone's mind, but if you insist on engaging, maybe do it by asking questions so you can further understand where that person is coming from. But I feel pretty confident when I say that a significant portion of the apathy that you might be feeling from politics or engaging in political discussions might be coming from engaging with energy vampirism and bots. Know who your audience is. The hate that comes my way just as a result of simply talking about this book or talking about politics from this group just truly gets to be too much. And I didn't realize how much it was affecting me until I realized that I wasn't creating the things that I loved. I found myself pulling back from creating those things. I'm not trying to convince anyone to turn away from their choices. Nothing I say in this video would even make that possible. I'm not trying to sway you to vote any specific way. I just want you to be aware.
You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years. You know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
I want you to focus only on developing your media, political, and financial literacy instead of allowing people to make decisions about your life without your input. We're almost done October. That's always been the goal. That's what the goal always will be, is making sure that we are educated in the world around us and that we are sharing the collective responsibility of our civic engagement. Arguing with people who have already made up their minds a long time ago is only going to frustrate you to the point of disengagement and apathy and exhaustion. The precondition for learning is the desire to learn. Without it, it's simply not possible. But we have to accept reality as it is, not as we want it to be. And only then, after accepting where we actually are, the cold, stark reality, only then can we take action towards an actual vision or an actual goal. Only then. Focus on your local community. Focus on developing your literacy. Focus on local engagement. That's all I got for y'all. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts. Let's continue to raise awareness and make informed decisions together. I will see you in the next.
As fire chief, it's my job to help improve my community. That's why I earned my degree online from Oregon State University. Now I have all the right skills to go out there and answer the call.
You might have heard about Project 2025. It's the handmaiden-esque conservative plan to reshape the federal government under the next presidential administration. It was created by the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, and has deep connections to the Trump administration. But of course, it's so sweeping and draconian that even Donald Trump has had to try to attempt to distance himself from it. It's 900 pages of crazy pants insanity. And while Trump has said he doesn't know anything about it, it could form the backbone of his next presidency. Honestly, there was only one person who could do justice to the rage-inducing, sweeping legal and governmental changes that Project 2025 is seeking to implement: chaos lawyer Liz Dye.
Thanks, Devin. I've spent the past couple weeks poring over this manifesto, and I think I've got a pretty good handle on it. These guys really, really hate immigrants and pronouns, and they love local control. Well, unless the locality wants to let women control their own bodies, or treat undocumented immigrants like human beings, or be nice to gay and trans kids. Also, they're really mad about porn. The introduction refers to 4 broad fronts that will decide America's future. Number 1, restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. Number 2, dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. Number 3, defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. Number 4, secure our God-given individual rights to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessings of liberty. What makes these 4 pieces of the conservative promise so valuable to the next president is that they cut through superficial distractions and focus on the moral and foundational challenges America faces at this moment of history. And okay, who doesn't want to protect children, right? I mean, raise your hand if you hate freedom.
Bueller.
But as always, the devil is in the details. And you don't have to scroll very far to figure out what those details are. Because on the very next page, these guys tell you very clearly that they think America's problems could be solved if everyone would just get married and stay that way. Who's to blame for what ails us? Unmarried mothers, because there is no government program that can replace the hole in a child's soul cut out by the absence of a father. Fatherlessness is one of the principal sources of American poverty, crime, mental illness, teen suicide, substance abuse, rejection of the church, and high school dropouts. That's a bold claim, although they cite no source for it. Nor is it clear what role the government should play in ensuring that children stay in the church. And anyway, how is the government going to convince parents to stay married? They're going to cut food stamps, obviously, because if you can feed your children without a husband, then And then they're going to delete the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, gender, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights from every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. After that, they'll outlaw porn. And then they're going to ban abortion nationwide and deport 20 million undocumented people, and then we'll all live happily married ever after. Also, tax cuts for big business and the 1%. Oh, and they're going to cut all funding for PBS and the Center for Public Broadcasting because Big Bird. Okay, guys, glove up. We're going in. Project 2025 is a plan to reshape the entire country using the power of the federal government. It's got a chapter on how they plan to reform every major agency of the executive branch. And so it's a little weird that the document mentions abortion 199 times, because it's been illegal for the federal government to fund abortion since 1971, with exceptions for rape, incest, and to protect the life of the pregnant person. The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs decision in 2022, theoretically returning the issue of abortion to the states. So how can abortion figure so prominently in a blueprint for federal policy? One of the main things these guys want to do is ban abortion nationwide. So the document contemplates all the ways that the federal government can use its power over education, insurance, labor regulations, and healthcare to ensure that no one can access abortion anywhere in America. And they want to wield foreign aid to try and make sure that no one in the rest of the world has access to abortion either. As with most of Project 2025, the chapter on their plans for the Department of Health and Human Services was written by a Trump administration alum. In this case, Roger Severino, who worked at the Justice Department under Donald Trump. He believes that we should eliminate the HHS Reproductive Health Care Access Task Force and install a pro-life task force to ensure that all of the department's divisions seek to use their authority to promote the life and health of women and their unborn children. Additionally, HHS should return to being known as the Department of Life by explicitly rejecting the notion that abortion is health care. Abortion is a complicated issue. People of good faith can disagree here. But the problem with Project 2025 is that it pretends the issue is not complicated. Even states like Texas, which ban abortion completely, have a provision in the law providing an exception to protect the life and health of the mother. Because in fact, some women will die or suffer grave health consequences if they cannot access abortion. Whether that provision in the law actually ensures access to care is another matter. Some pregnancies are the result of rape or incest, and most Americans think it should be legal for women to access abortion in those tragic circumstances. But Project 2025 simply pretends all that away with ominous references to the global abortion industry, as if there was a company called Big Abortion that was advertising 2-for-1 deals on every platform to get you to come down to the abortionplex and hop into the stirrups for another round. Severino wants the CDC to fund studies into the risks and complications of abortion and ensure that it corrects and does not promote misinformation regarding the comparative health and psychological benefits of childbirth versus the health and psychological risks of intentionally taking a human life through abortion. And he plans to, quote, drive investigative review of literature for a variety of issues, including the effect of abortion on prematurity and breast cancer. But there is no link between abortion and breast cancer, and there's no link between abortion and depression. And that's not how science works. You don't start with your preferred policy position and then go and try and create studies to back it up. But Project 2025 isn't just waiting for evidence to come in before implementing its policy goals. They want to reverse the FDA authorization of mifepristone, the most commonly used drug for medication abortions. They claim that it's untested and unsafe, despite the fact that it was approved in America in 2000 and has been in use in France since the 80s. They want to ban mailing mifepristone across state lines under the Comstock Act, which, okay, more on that in a second. Project 2025 wants the federal government to discourage abortion tourism, by which they mean they intend to stop women in states which ban abortion from crossing state lines to get the care they need. They also want to block any federal money going to organizations like Planned Parenthood, which provides both abortion care and a whole array of other health services. So if you want to be screened for breast or cervical cancer at Planned Parenthood, well, you are just out of luck. And you know, if you don't want people to invoke the Handmaid's Tale when they're talking about your program, maybe don't use the words abortion surveillance and complain that the government isn't tracking abortions closely enough, and put in writing that you plan to force doctors to ask women why they're choosing to have an abortion and then report the answer to the federal government. So if you have a period tracker on your phone, no, you don't. Run. And it's not just abortion that these Project 2025 guys are so weird about. They have a lot of thoughts about birth control, too. They want to ban the morning after pill, which they call a potential abortifacient. It is not. They want to ban medical schools from teaching new doctors how to safely perform an abortion. And they want to cut government funding for condoms from the Women's Health Initiative because they say that condoms have nothing to do with protecting women's health, which suggests a fundamental lack of understanding of human biology.
Can this same procedure then be done in a pregnancy? Swallowing a camera and helping the doctor determine what the situation is with the
Mr. Chairman and Representative, it cannot be done in pregnancy simply because when you swallow a pill, it would not end up in the vagina.
Fascinating.
Instead, they want the CDC to update its public messaging about the unsurpassed effectiveness of modern fertility awareness-based methods of family planning and stop publishing communications that conflate such methods with the long-eclipsed rhythm or calendar methods. Fertility awareness-based methods involve tracking your menstrual cycle and abstaining from sex during ovulation when you're most likely to become pregnant. The rhythm method involves tracking your menstrual cycle and abstaining from sex during ovulation when you're most likely to become pregnant. Neither one of these provides any protection from sexually transmitted infections, and both have a roughly 20% failure rate over a year. Or as they used to say back in the day, you know what they call people who use the rhythm method? Parents. Birth control pills, IUDs, and even condoms are more than 98% effective at preventing pregnancy. So when Project 2025 talks about the unsurpassed effectiveness of so-called natural family planning, they're maybe leaving out one or two relevant data points. But at least it's legal to ship an ovulation monitor through the mail, because one of the ways Project 2025 contemplates reducing access to birth control and abortion is by reviving the Comstock Act, an 1873 statute that made it illegal to use the post office to send birth control and pornography. It was named for Anthony Comstock, an anti-masturbation activist who claimed that books are feeders for brothels and burned tons of them. The law was immediately and successfully challenged on First Amendment grounds, but it remains on the books, and Project 2025 envisions using it to prevent the shipment of medication abortion drugs and anything else they consider an abortifacient, including many popular birth control devices and medicines. But what should the government do to prevent the spread of STIs? Well, Project 2025 has a plan for that too, and that plan is to encourage us all to get married. No, I'm serious. Their plan to stop gonorrhea is to focus on strengthening marriage and sexual risk avoidance. And although the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage in 2015, the Heritage Foundation guys do not mean happily married gay couples. They mean heterosexual couples because, quote, families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. And so, for the sake of child well-being, programs should affirm that children require and deserve both the love and nurturing of a mother and the play and protection of a father. In fact, it's not just gay marriage that's in the Project 2025 crosshairs. This is a plan to erase LGBTQ+ people from public life entirely. The authors of Project 2025 seem to think that most of the nation's problems could be solved if we could just get rid of gender identity, or what they call the unscientific notion that men can become women and vice versa. For instance, they'll, quote, restore standards of lethality and excellence to the U.S. military by kicking out everyone who is transgender or HIV positive. To de-wokeify foreign aid, the government should remove all references, examples, definitions, photos, and language on USAID websites, in agency publications and policies, and in all agency contracts and grants that include the following terms: gender, gender equality, gender equity, gender diverse individuals, gender aware, gender sensitive, etc. It should also remove references to abortion, reproductive health, and sexual and reproductive rights, and controversial sexual education materials. The solution to all the nation's ills, besides marriage, of course, is to roll back the Great Awakening by removing protections for transgender students, forcing schools to out kids to their parents, banning gender-affirming care for minors, and rolling back bans on discriminating against LGBTQ+ people at work and in public accommodations. They even want to revoke the National Education Organization's public charter because the nation's largest teachers union, quote, promotes radical racial and gender ideologies in schools. And how are they going to fix public education? Get rid of those pesky pronouns. This would apparently make it illegal for teachers to respect their students' request to be called by anything, quote, other than the name listed on a student's birth certificate without the written permission of a student's parents or guardians. This would apparently ban nicknames, but it's a small price to pay to win the war on woke. Sorry, Billy. Oops, William. And while they're at it, they want to make DEI illegal too. Yeah, because if it's not trans people ruining everything, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. In fact, the Project 2025s are so spun up about what they call critical race theory that they want to conduct purges at organizations like the Treasury Department. This document proposes to identify any Treasury Department employee at any level who attended diversity training under the Biden or Obama administration and treat the participation in any critical race theory or DEI initiative without objecting on constitutional or moral grounds as per se grounds for termination of employment. And the Project 2025 guys don't just want to fire anybody in government who sat through a diversity workshop. They want the Justice Department to, quote, use the full force of federal prosecutorial resources to investigate and prosecute all state and local governments, institutions of higher education, corporations, and any other private employers who are engaged in discrimination in violation of constitutional and legal requirements, by which they mean they want to prosecute employers they believe are making too many diversity hires. And if that happens to have the chilling effect of discouraging companies from hiring people who are not white men, well, they're good with it.
Yeah, and if you're prosecuted under Project 2025's craziness, you'll probably want a good lawyer because the country has some serious issues. But if you want a great lawyer, my law firm, the Eagle Team, can help. If you've gotten in a car crash, suffered a data breach, especially if you got one of those letters saying that your social security number was leaked, or are dealing with a workers' comp or social security issue, we can represent you or help find you the right attorney. Because it's so important to talk to a lawyer right away so you can get the best representation and find out what your options are. So just click on the link in the description or call the phone number that's on screen for a free consultation with my team. Because you don't just need a legal team, you need the Eagle Team. So click below.
Let's take a break and talk about who exactly is behind Project 2025. Project 2025 is the brainchild of Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, and Russ Vought, the former head of the Office of Management and Budget in the Trump White House. And to staff this thing up, they brought in Trump's former personnel chief, Johnny McEntee. Heritage is the OG conservative think tank founded during the Nixon administration to advocate for pro-business policies and against the global spread of communism. It's been highly influential in every Republican administration since Reagan, and during Democratic administrations dedicated itself to opposing everything from single-payer health care to student loan relief. Since the end of the Cold War, Heritage has increasingly thrown itself into culture war issues, particularly opposing abortion and gay rights. Kevin Roberts is a dedicated conservative stalwart who headed up the lobbying arm at Heritage before becoming its leader. He's Orban, who says that Hungarians do not want to become a mixed race, and Roberts is open that his organization's mission is institutionalizing Trumpism. So while Trump insists that he knows nothing about Project 2025, Roberts has been clear that he and Trump are part of the same movement, and he is laying out the agenda for the next Trump administration. Russ Vought is a self-described Christian nationalist who serves as the current policy director of the Republican National Committee. In 2016, he wrote that Muslims do not simply have a deficient theology, they do not know God because they have rejected Jesus Christ, his son, and they stand condemned. He believes we're living in a post-constitutional moment, and the only solution is to massively centralize power in the office of the president, conscripting the entire federal bureaucracy as a tool to reorder society in accordance with conservative values. If you lived through the first Trump administration, you may remember it was something of a chaotic time, with the White House pumping out executive orders, banning all Muslims from entering the country, or kicking all transgender people out of the military, or announcing the immediate withdrawal of all troops from Afghanistan, or declaring an emergency and raiding military funds to build a border wall. Roberts and Vought think that the problem wasn't that Trump's ideas were crazy or illegal, but that there were too many disloyal civil servants who refused to implement them.
But on the point of follow-up question, is there a policy solution or proposal in this book, which is going to be put out imminently, that you're most interested in, you're most excited about?
Well, I think one that's gotten a lot of press is Schedule F. And Schedule F was something that materialized at the end of the administration that the president did, to be able to say that if you're working on policy for the president, you're an at-will employee.
So this time around, they prepared Project 2025 as a blueprint so that they can hit the ground running. To make sure there's no deep state sabotage, they plan to destroy longstanding protections for career government employees who currently can't be fired for perceived disloyalty. Instead, much of the federal government will be staffed with political appointees who serve at the pleasure of the president. Johnny McEntee rose from being Trump's body man during the 2016 campaign to running the Presidential Personnel Office, which staffs the entire executive branch. During the final year of Trump's presidency, McEntee began administering loyalty tests at the various executive branch agencies in attempting to push out anyone who had expressed a negative opinion of Trump or his policies. In conjunction with Project 2025, McEntee is assembling a presidential personnel database preparing to staff the next Trump administration with MAGA faithful. He also started a dating app called The Right Stuff so that Trump supporters won't get their feelings hurt by all the swipe lefts on Tinder.
What are you looking for in a partner?
They just have to be a conservative. Definitely someone that wants to have kids. I like an independent man. Personally, I like the alpha male vibe.
Which is weird, because who wouldn't want to date a guy like this?
So I always keep this fake Hollywood money in my car, so when a homeless person asks for money, then I give him like a fake $5 bill, so I feel good about myself, they feel good, and then when they go to use it, they get arrested, so I'm actually like helping clean up the community, you know, getting them off the street.
Oh yeah, that's really him. Okay. Now let's talk about what Project 2025 would do to education in this country, aside from banning pronouns. Maybe you're a little kid just trying to figure out how to drink your juice and play in the sandbox and recognize your ABCs. Project 2025 would eliminate Head Start, which subsidizes childcare for 820,000 poor kids between the ages of 3 and 5. Or maybe you're a kid who relies on getting lunch and possibly breakfast at school. Project 2025 wants to cut way back on what it calls a federal catering program and axe meals in the summer for kids who aren't in summer school. Oh, you're a 4th grader who isn't enrolled in classes this summer? Guess you can wait till September to eat. On the bright side, during the next administration, kids will be able to earn more pocket money by taking on dangerous jobs that are currently off limits to them. Project 2025 plans to repeal hazard order regulations which bar teenagers from risky jobs in factories and mines because, quote, some young adults show an interest in inherently dangerous jobs.
People don't want children working anymore. In fact, they want them in school now.
During their most productive years, when their tiny fingers are still small enough to fit into the crevices of the machinery.
Maybe you're applying to college and you need a student loan. Project 2025 aims to end federally subsidized student loans on the theory that the marketplace will do it more cheaply and efficiently. And if the government does make education loans, Project 2025 wants to treat those as an economic investment which must be repaid in interest and principal rather than an investment in the education of the American population. They want to roll back all loan forgiveness and end loan abatements for borrowers who do socially valuable things with their degrees, like provide healthcare in underserved rural areas. How will they solve the rural healthcare crisis? Well, they'll reduce the regulatory burden. According to the Center for American Progress, a liberal think tank, borrowers would pay about $3,000 more a year under this plan. In fact, the Project 2025 guys think the Department of Education, which they call a convenient one-stop shop for the woke education cartel, should be abolished in its entirety. And speaking of stuff they'd like to kill, you can wave goodbye to free weather reports. The chapter on the Environmental Protection Agency is written by Mandy Gunasekara, who was chief of staff at the EPA under Trump. She previously served as House counsel to the late Senator James Inhofe, who once waved a snowball around on the floor of the Senate to prove that climate change wasn't real. Yep, that's her sitting right behind him. Gunasekara refers to the, quote, perceived threat of climate change and advocates rolling back pollution standards across the board. Elsewhere in the Project 2025 blueprint are plans to end all subsidies for clean energy, concentrate on producing food cheaply, whatever the cost to the environment, eliminate energy efficiency standards for appliances, roll back mileage standards for gas-powered cars, and more or less ban the entire federal government from taking climate change into account when crafting U.S. policy.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
And they'd like to withdraw us from the Paris Climate Agreement, the multinational framework designed to reduce the impact of climate change worldwide. Toward that end, they plan to get rid of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're outside Five Below. We're gonna be going to Five Below and Dollar Tree to see who can get the best blind bag, and of course it's gonna be me because the freak. I think not. I think not. I'm a blind bag expert. I'm a blind bag fiend. I'm a blind bag collector. You don't understand. And plus I'm getting inside the store first. Goodbye. She really is getting in the store before me. Girl, wait. Oh my god, you scared me. She already found the blind bags, it looks like. Are they bracelets? Yeah. I'm taking them. Wait, yeah. I gotta get two. Do I get two for us? 8-year-old Brenna would love that. Yeah, sure. Brenna would love that. I'm already on top of the world. We have, look, I got a Pusheen. And look at whatever this is. Foodies. I want a Pusheen one. I know that for sure. I like Pusheen. No. I found this. Look. It's an American cinnamon roll and a Hello Kitty cinnamon roll. I mean, what the? Hello Kitty American. Oh, get cute. Get cute. No, this is not count as a blind bag. Get, I'm tripping. Get. I want a Powerpuff Girls one. I'm gonna Minecraft. I found a Minecraft one. Nice. Oh, a little pet shop. Shrek, mystery figure. I think I'm gonna try this food trip. Who is that food? This food. I'm gonna get this one. I can't grab it. I'm gonna get this one. This is mine. Oh, it's not a blind bag. Ew, that's not a blind bag. Oh, they got the unicorn. I want this one. I want one of those too. Okay, wait. Can we go get a car real quick? Because I can't hold all this. I have the BT21. Brenna used to be obsessed with BT at one point. So, BTS. See? Why did I not see these? Oh my gosh, guys. We found the fuckler blind bag. Scared, don't play. These are the hard ones, but it's okay. It's okay. We love them all the same. I'm hard too. They have these cute little pet shop ones. They have bubble heads. Bubble your head. You should get it. Okay. Let's make sure we pick a good one. This is the best one right here. Oh, they have hoodies. What the? Damn girl. She's getting one of everything, y'all. Present for you. The Skibbity. I don't need a Skibbity toilet. That's you. Skibbity toilet. Skibbity toilet Riz is you. Thank you, I have this. Oh, they have Bob's Burgers. SpongeBob SquarePants fun food figure, but I don't think it's anything too fun because this feels light. It feels like there's paper in here. This Kirby Squishy. Low-key, I like the keychain ones, but there's not that many of those. They have this South Park hanger. My mom lets me get these ones. Oh, does she? Well, your mom's not here, honey. Can I get these ones? Sure. This is the best. Look at the zebra fog balloon. My bag has this one. I want that one. Too bad, I'm gonna get it. This is Brenna when she's on the road. I'm gonna get this Snooki shirt. It says pickles is my thing. I love it. Okay, cute. Actually, it matches you, low-key. Alright. Oh, stop. They have the purple Teletubby. Tinky Winky. It's so cute. Oh my god. I'm gonna get Sips this dinosaur crystal head because he used to like dinosaurs, okay? We got our blind bags and now we're on our way. We just got some canes. We're gonna eat before we go to Dollar Tree. This girl just got her driver's license, guys. She's officially licensed. And I can't show you, sorry. I'm showing them. She's driving us everywhere. Us. We made it to Dollar Tree. Geet, open the door, Geet. Look, I'm on camera. Oh, she's waving right to the camera. I thought you were saying hi to somebody in here. Toy section. Let's see if they have any blind bags. Look at this gorilla. They have a black one. Okay, there's nothing here. There's no blind bags? What is that? No, this is a puzzle. Your favorite. Brenna used to love puzzles, guys. Mom's little princess used to love puzzles. There's literally like no blind bags here. Not even the little cute ones. You have never been here in your life. Girl, what is this thing? Oh, it's not a blind bag. They have the kitty in my pocket blind bag, and then they have the jungle in my pocket blind bag. Let's get one of each. Okay. Oh, they also have a puppy. What if we get one that looks like Nina? Oh, ow. I'm gonna get a cat one. Okay, good. I made a brand new discovery. There's more down here. Look. More blind bags. Oh, look. A blind ball. Oh, blind ball. There's these squishy little keychains. And I want the skull. Look at the skull. Oh, so cute. And they have this. And? Oh, nobody wants that. We spent $15 there. I don't know how. We got like little tiny blind bags and that's it. It's okay, baby girl. One blind bag is $15 at Miniso, right? That's true, that's true. We're on our way to Liddy's now to go open the blind bag. We have all the blind bags in front of us. These on this side are mine and these on this side are Brenna's. We spent a total of $50 on these blind bags. I have no idea how I mean, they're just little toys, right?
It's just Five Below, everything's like $5.
This is literally Berna's dream come true, y'all.
No, this has been my dream since I was legit, you know? And I'm finally living my dreams.
Here we are.
Aww.
This is what dreams are made of.
Alright, we have to start strong. Okay. We have to open the fuggler.
The fuggler.
I want the zebra one with its tongue open.
Sorry, but me too.
Oh, keep wanting.
I want it so bad.
I'm gonna open it. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
I already have this one.
Let's trade.
Nah. I'm just kidding.
I got this one.
I have this one here. Oh, I got a new baby.
Look, we're twins.
Look, we're twins. Alright, don't put that in. Don't put that in.
This us.
Alright, you're trying to be cute. You're just trying to be cute. Which one are you opening next?
Okay, let's do, I'm gonna do the puppy one.
So then I'll do my kitty surprise.
She got the kitty one.
So I want Lola. It's the hairless cat. It's the one with the bald cat.
I want Carmela, because she's white like Nina, or I want Pessa. She's a teacup puppy.
Oh, cute.
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
What's up? Mine didn't rip all the way.
Oh, I got one that was laying down.
Mine didn't rip all the way, bro.
So cute. I got you, bro. Alright, I it.
Thank you. I got the Chihuahua. It's so cute. My dog's name is Charro.
Okay, my cat's name is Cammy. Cammy. I want to open the unicorn one.
That means I'll open my Powerpuff Girl one.
Okay, which one do you want? I want Hanukkah. It looks like a cherry blossom one.
I want one of these. I want one of the Powerpuff Girls. Honestly though, guys, this one was already open, so this is low-key a scam. Somebody already looked at it.
It's not open.
Yeah, somebody already opened it.
Oh, holy crap,
I didn't even notice.
It's open. Alright, I hope I get a cool one.
I got Mojo Jojo!
Mojo Jojo. I got a purple one. Okay, she's not ugly.
Hey,
she's
they
so
both have
cute.
purple.
What?
Hey, the frick is Mojo Jojo? I'm gonna put this on my bag. I can't find mine or anything. Somebody opened it, literally.
I got Galactica.
I'm gonna be doing the squishy surprise now.
Alright, the blind bag. My guess, because I was feeling it in the store low-key, because I was squishing it, I think this is the shark or the dinosaur. But I want the skull still. I still have hope.
I think this is the bear.
Alright, let's see. It's the dinosaur! This one's so squishy.
Mine's the bear!
Look how squishy it is, though. I kind of like it.
Aww. Dude, yours does not look like a dinosaur. That's like a little turd with hair on it.
Stop, don't be mean to him. Like he's
squishy. Okay, I gotta say, mine's cuter than yours. What is that?
Hayden F. Next one I want to open is my Sanrio one because I really want Bats Maru. I have two of these. I have Peckle. Yeah, I said it right. Peckle. I have Hangyodan. I have Tuxedo Sam. But I want Bats Maru or Pocheco.
Cross your fingers. And I got this Rainbow Bright one. It's a keychain. Okay. I want her.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Puppy Bright.
Please, Lord, be on my side. No way, I forgot it. 3, 2, 1.
Puppy Bright.
Please, Lord, be on my side. No way, I forgot it.
That's right. There's no way you manifested that. That's crazy. Did you cheat?
No.
She's cute.
Oh, we got cute ones.
Aww. What's her name? I got Rainbow Bright.
Oh, she's so cute.
Aww. Oh, she's so cute.
We're doing the jungle one. Alright, we both got the jungle one, so I'm hoping for the monkey. His name's Matt. The little monkey.
I want Flash. I want the black jaguar. You ready?
Okay. 3, 2, 1. I kind of like the badger.
I got the bear.
I got, what the, is this a dinosaur?
What is that?
Chroma, giant chameleon. Oh, it's a chameleon.
It's black.
Oh, that's hella sick.
Mine's the bear. How cute. No, she's not that bad. You're judging.
No,
don't be rude.
It's nice. It's nice. My pick is gonna be this blind ball because I'm actually curious to what they're gonna look like. Let's see if they have facet. But I couldn't want the panda. I want the panda.
I want the unicorn. Just pull it. Yeah. I never opened one of these before, but not me acting like I know what I'm doing.
I know, I'm just like, just pull it, just pull it.
I got it!
Oh, I need help.
Let me see me. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry.
I got the panda.
I got the unicorn. Why did we get the ones that we wanted?
You wanted that one? I said I wanted the panda.
Yeah, the panda's cute.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Get the unicorn.
How did we get the ones we wanted?
I know we manifested it. That's funny.
This is so cute.
This is me, guys. I'm the unicorn.
This is me, guys. Ooh. I don't know if I'm last one. She got no choice.
I got a Puccini blind bag, and she got the Minecraft.
I want the creeper. I love the creeper, but if I don't get the creeper, I want the pink sheep. We got a pink sheep on this hill.
I want the purple one. Ready? Purple Puccini.
3, 2, 1. Oh.
I thought it was gonna be fuzzy all the way. Why is he like this? Why didn't you want?
That's why I didn't get it. Look, it's a pom pom, and it's just but it's still cute.
Look at the tail.
It's a puffball. What the freak is this? All right.
Why does it smell like that?
I didn't manifest enough. That's for sure.
What is it?
This is the pigment.
Oh, let me see. I can't see. Oh, why is it missing an ear?
Because it can. Because I'm that. Look, that's a skeleton. You think he's gonna have an ear right there where his skin is not? Alright, now that we're done, you have to choose your favorite. Which one's your favorite?
My favorite one.
My favorite one has to be Batsmaru, because there's no way that we actually. No, there's no way that I actually freaking got this one, the one that I wanted.
And mine's the Fuggler.
Even though I got it for you. It's okay, girl. Next
Even
time,
though
next
we traded, it's okay. That's my favorite one. It matches me.
And this one matches me.
This is everything we got from the blind bags. This is my side and that is Berna's side.
Now tell us if it's worth 50 bucks.
Y'all, spend your money wisely, because how the heck was this 50 bucks? How? This is what happens when you hang out with Berna.
Well, we're gonna do this again next time we see you, okay?
This is funny. This was fun though, no lie. It's 9:30. Berna has to head home already, so this is where we're gonna end off the video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know of any other videos you guys want to watch, or if you guys want to see more unboxing videos. This was very fun to do. So yes, we'll see you guys later. We love you guys. We'll see y'all later. Bye.
The one and only Botox Cosmetics.
Goodbye.